All right, I think we're ready to go for this afternoon's commentary. It's just a couple of minutes after 3 p.m. We're trying a completely new system online this afternoon. So if you see sparks flying or steam coming out of the computer, you'll know that the probability is it's not working. But anyway, we will see what happens. Welcome to everybody here in the University of Warwick who's sitting here in the audience. A select few at the moment, but it will build up later on. And of course, I have my friend and co-commentator Ravi Kumar with me. Let's get rid of this. Who's going to accompany me this afternoon? So on board one, we have Pert versus Hawkins. Now, what do you make of this clash?
Okay. Before even I just want to run through the current situation with 3 rounds left to finish this championship. It looks like it's going to be a very close finish. But at the moment, Nicholas Pert and Danny Gomali has a very slender half-point lead. And then we have this Grandmaster Club of 1, 2, 3, 5 people with 6 points. And so, you know, it's going to be a very, very tight finish, number one. And the second thing is, I think that I kind of feel that, you know, Nicholas Pert has white pieces today. And, you know, possibly he could be the one who could be, you know, pushing ahead. And this is a crucial round. And if he wins this round, either, you know, if Gomali wins or Nicholas has a draw, then we're going to have a very tight finish. But I have a feeling both these grandmasters who are in the league are playing white.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. For Jonathan Hawkins, it's another difficult day at the office with the black pieces against Nick Pert. Both sides will be pressing to win, but when you play somebody like Pert, you can't just go right from the outset and try and thrash him with some unsound or very sharp opening variations. He's just too solid. So what we have here is a very standard Queen's Gambit, with Hawkins playing the Queen's Gambit decline, and Pert playing the fashionable variation with Bishop F4, which I think we've seen already during these championships on our live boards.
Yeah. And I think, you know, I mean, like this Bishop F4 is, you know, there's of course lots of cheering on the Bishop G5, which used to be the, you know, it used to be like Carpo and all played Bishop G5. But now the modern grandmasters, they like Bishop F4 because it has a lot of, you know, different complex play can arise.
Well, we've had a very standard Bishop F4 opening, and now Black has to make a choice. Almost exclusively, until more or less recently, Black's been playing C5 in this position. Just the classical freeing break, and then you get positions quite often where Black has an isolated Queen's pawn. Well, White can sort of inflict that on Black more or less routinely just by taking on C5 and then taking on D5. But recently, Black has been playing other things. I believe was there not a Knight BD7 earlier in this tournament?
Yeah, that's what Hawkins played, and he's repeated it now just now.
Okay, he played Knight BD7. There we are. All right.
Is there like a theoretical struggle now happening? You know, I mean, when he's played this already. So when Nick Pert, you know, started his preparation, well, you know, he should be like having, you know, am I going to have a theoretical battle with Hawkins on this particular line?
Well, I don't know. I mean, one would assume that Nick Pert could have prepared this before the game. So we'll see what he's got to show against Knight BD7. My guess is nothing more than some sort of small edge.
Yep.
Didn't White play C5 in some games?
Yeah, C5 is one of the main alternatives.
There's a pawn takes pawn here, that going back into an exchange variation. This must be another very decent move. Rook C1 must be a decent move. Generally, the Queen's Gambit, you wait until Black's plays C6 before you move your Queen. Quite often you see the Queen coming to C2 in the Queen's Gambit. But when Black can play C5 in one go, that's thought to be less accurate. So you may see Queen C2 here, but since Black hasn't moved the pawn on C7, then I doubt it. If I was trying to... We'll have the first competition of the afternoon. Come on, we've got lots of prizes to give away over the next 3 days. And so all you have to do is guess Nick Pert's next move. What was it? You can reserve a move, and then you can have, let me see, practical chess defense. Can you get that book over here? Practical chess defense. You just reserve a move, and he's played a move, so somebody's going to win this book. You're first. C5? No, sir, it was not. Yes. H4? No. No. You can reserve a move, and then you said that? Can have, no. Let me see, practical chess defense. Can you get that book over here? Anybody else? Chess defense. You just reserve a move, and he's played a move. Yes, please. Somebody's going to win this book. No. Believe it or not, he went and played Queen C2. Yes. After my comments about that move, that's a surprise. Yeah. That is a surprise. So he clearly is not afraid of C5. Strange one, that. As I say, normally the Queen's Gambit is a very standard idea. You don't move your Queen till Black moves his C4. So, of course, the first thought is what happens if Black plays C5?
I think that Nick is going to take on C5 with the pawn. Pawn into C5, D into C5.
Yep.
And if you take with the bishop, I'll do a long castle. And the point I'm making here is that usually your knight comes to C6.
That's right, that's right. In this position, for instance, Black sometimes plays knight C6 in this position, doesn't he? But he can play bishop takes C5. And then, what is it, something like A3, bishop takes C5, queen C2, queen A5. And now this very sharp line casting on the queen side. Now, knight BD7, of course, that's a more passive location for the knight. I must admit, if I was white, I'd be attracted by this capture on D5. But then I suppose the difference is Black can take back with the knight. Is that one of the differences?
Yeah, it could be one of the differences. But I think that, you know, if you play knight D5 now,
yes.
E into D5,
yes.
BD3, and now the bishop check, this is moving.
And now this very sharp line casting on the queen side. Right. Right, bishop check, white goes here. And although that sounds silly, you can see it's been played in quite a few games. However, that didn't happen. A slightly surprising move, queen to c2, and maybe he surprised Hawkins slightly because he is thinking. So on we go, queen to c2, that's the position in the game, and let's move now to Gormali versus Ems.
Yep.
Alright, so this is a game I think Gormali will be targeting as one he would very much like to win.
Yeah.
Despite the fact John Ems is a seasoned grandmaster, Gormali's got white. What does he do?
He goes d4.
Yep.
Knight f6.
Yes.
c4.
Yep.
e6, and Black is now offering to go into Nimzo, and he plays knight f3, which is a very, very solid way, take him into Queen's Indian.
That's what Black played.
Yeah. And then now Black played b6, and now you can see now, so he is just contemplating what to do next. So he can go a3, which is what Kasparov prefers there. He can go g3, which Karpov played a lot of games with g3. And he also can play bishop f4, which is played by Tony Miles.
Knight c3, e3, there are many moves. Yep. Anyway, he played g3. And now this is the first big decision of the game. Is Black going to play his bishop to b7, the solid line, or is he going to overshoot to a6? That is the most popular line of all. And there are other moves here. For instance, bishop to b4 check is a move. So M settles for bishop. He certainly didn't play b5. M settles for bishop b7. Rock solid.
Yeah.
And I imagine White's going to play bishop g2.
Yeah, I was looking at this line quite strangely last night. I just went home and I was looking at some lines.
As you do. I mean, what's the point of having dinner? You might as well look at the Queen's Indian. Having been studying, talking about chess all day.
So what I found out was White can play bishop g2.
and he will, I'm sure.
Yeah, bishop g2, bishop e7,
Yes.
knight c3,
Yes.
knight e4,
Yes.
queen c2,
Yes.
knight into c3,
Yes.
queen into c3,
Yes.
and now c5 is your typical move.
All right.
And now c5 castles,
What's this going to lead to?
castles.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the move bishop f4. Karpov hunched toward the bishop at b3. I know there's lots of Karpov games where he went b3, bishop f6, queen bishop f6, bishop b2, and now if you took on f3, you're gonna play queen f3 and it's on, and the a8 is on under attack. And then if you went knight c6, as you did in the game, it's just queen d2, and then treating it like some kind of a bind on d5.
Well, black can exchange off all the pieces, can he not?
Yeah, you can.
Anyway, let's.
Do I have knight in d6 here?
Yeah, you may well do, but let's go back to the game because we're going a long way from the game itself, and there are many variations before that which have got to be negotiated. So this is the position in the game, and Johnny Ems is thinking, and indeed he plays bishop b4 check. Well, now this takes us back into the realm of the Bogo Indian. I must admit, as white, over many years, I've never been afraid of this check. I think white should put his bishop in the way, and if black takes that off, which he probably won't do, you're getting ready to take back with the queen.
Isn't the theory that you don't take the bishop, actually pull it back to e7?
Well, you do. You can pull it back to e7. I think I had that in a recent 4NCL game, and then you get a variation of the line more or less that you were showing, where white has committed his bishop to d2, which is quite interesting because one of the ideas of bishop d2 is that it's maybe this, isn't it?
Yeah, if the bishop was on c1, you can do that.
I think you can do it now.
Yeah, but I'm not castling. I wanted to play c5.
c5? Well, in this position?
Yeah.
Well, I just go d5 again, do I?
Yeah,
it's the same.
ed5.
Yeah, knight h4.
And are you just like, am I treating it like a banana now?
I'm not sure how you're treating it, Ravi. It looks slightly inaccurately to me, to be absolutely honest with you. Bishop b4 check. Well, bishop d2 is the main, and I expect that, but he's still thinking. That's
so. Can he go now queen e7? Like
he can go queen e7. He can go a5. There are quite a few moves. I think a5 is a Portnoy favourite in this position.
And Nick Putt just had a game with yesterday, which ended in a draw. Bishop into b4. He had a similar position.
Well, bishop d2 is the main. Well, Gourmet is thinking. I'm not sure what he's thinking about. Bishop d2 is absolutely the main line, which we can verify very simply by clicking on reference. I'm glad I finally got my computer back on this commentary because I can play with all the toys on it, the chess-related toys. Bishop d2 outstrips every other move by a factor of about 5, maybe 6 to 1. Played by Kasparov, Kramnik. I mean, that's enough. We don't need to say anymore, do we? We don't need to say anymore.
But the odds.
He's played knight bd2. I can't believe it. He's played knight bd2. Okay, so knight bd2 has been played.
Yeah, and the thing I was saying, and we were having this discussion a bit earlier on when similar position happened, and I kind of felt that knight bd2 was better because you eventually get some bishop back, and you were describing that it's not much, is it?
Well, I just don't think that's the right square for white's knight.
So is it now knight e4 and pull all the pieces out?
Well, why not just castle and leave him with his lousy knight?
Castle then a3, or you're going to give your
a3? I'll just go back.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Just run away.
But now queen c2.
Queen c2. I might play d5.
Yeah. Are you not getting into the line where I can now play cd5?
Well, normally the knight is not on d2. You've got a slight problem with your queenside pieces. So knight bd2 to me says that Gourmali wants to play for the win, and he's taking play away from the main lines where black can perhaps simplify. Bishop d2, he can take the bishops off. There's no simplification to be had here. If black wants to surrender his bishop on d2, then let him. We'll have the bishop pair then. We've got something to work with.
So knight bd2, you're castling,
All this, well, there are other moves. I mean, black can play d5, he can play c5 times. There are many moves. I mean, there can't be too much wrong with that, can there?
So he's played c5 now.
c5, okay.
And then if I play a3, you're going to put bishop on a5.
No simplification to be had here. Well, a3, this is interesting. Am I now in a position to take the knight?
Then I want to take with the queen. See?
You like to take with the queen. Okay, then I'll take this.
Yeah, queen d4.
You take with the queen again.
And looks like I'm going to say hello to the d6 square.
There can't be too much wrong with that, can there?
Eventually.
c5, okay.
And then if I play a3, you're going to put bishop on a5. You know what I mean? Like.
Okay, it's a slightly surprising move, c5. Let's just have a look at it from the other way around. Am I now in a position to take the knight?
Then I want to take with the queen.
It looks a little bit committal, doesn't it? I mean, black's threatening pawn takes pawn, but as you say, Ravi, that is easily
yeah. What happens
forestalled.
if he goes bishop a5? Is there something wrong with it? I mean, like
bishop a5. It looks a weird move. I just cast on.
Yeah,
threatening knight to b3.
You know what I mean? Like yeah, knight to b3,
leaving your bishop looking ridiculous. Have a look at it from the other way around. Well, it's not your bishop; it's a figurative. Figurative.
So c5, a3, bishop a5.
I can't believe that's been played. We can take a look. It's been played by two players. And on both occasions white castled and then black surrendered the bishop on d2. So I'm not quite sure what black's up to with that variation.
It looks quite odd to put the bishop on a5, and especially if you had the motivation to somehow retain that bishop on a5, then it looks like a move. Okay, you play bishop a5, but if you got to surrender it on the next move, it looks very logical. Then what has he achieved by playing bishop a5?
Nothing. But it's been, this bishop c5 move has been played very frequently. White's been playing a3 or upcasting or taking on c5. It's a very common line.
Yeah, I think the only difference is he's lost a move, but he's gained 30 seconds on the clock.
So I don't know what would one expect. A3 looks the most natural, doesn't it? If he denies the bishop a retreat, we will attack it. Nothing. But it's been this bishop c5 move has been played very frequently. Well, Gomali's thinking he's played two slight surprises so far. Knight bd2 is a slight surprise, thought to be passive. The knight's not great on d2. The two knights protecting each other, and then c5. Which more or less obliges John Eames to surrender the bishop here after this.
And the other thing now is that if white castles, black goes cd4, and then exchange the bishop on g2. So that's what c5 is.
Well, is thinking he's played
so once you play c5 and white castles, you take on d4, knight takes on d4, can you show that line too?
Castle, c takes d4, yes, knight takes d4.
And then over the bishop off,
yes.
And then play something like queen c8.
Or queen c7, something like that.
Yeah.
That should be okay with the queen coming across to b7.
Yeah. So instead of castling, can I really play a move like d5 here, or am I?
Well, that has been played. Okay, let me take it. I've got a lot of pieces on that square. So what is your idea?
Knight h4.
Knight h4. Okay.
Unleash the pin.
But I'm on the difference between this and the normal position is that I'm actually protecting this pawn at least twice, aren't I? On the other hand, you might be threatening knight f5.
Yeah.
All right, so let me move my queen somewhere. I want to protect the bishop. So queen c7, let's say. Okay, let me take it. Now, a lot of pieces on that square. So
I'm thinking cd5, bishop d5. You got bishop d5.
The difference between this and the normal position is that I'm actually okay. Bishop takes, yes. Why not?
Yeah, I was thinking of e4, but can I play e4?
You can play it.
So let me move my
queen somewhere. I can take it.
Queen e2.
So queen e2, yeah. Okay. Well, it's all getting very hairy here.
Should you play queen e5 now?
Well, that's what I was thinking about. Then do you have f3? Okay,
punches, yeah.
Punch and counter punch. So d5, that move has been played. If we consult the online database, there are quite a lot of games. The latest game was a victory for black, another blitz game. These blitz games are infecting online databases. It's incredible. So what happened in this game? And now black simply castled.
Should we have an antivirus removing all these blitz games in chess?
Well, you were saying about Anand yesterday taking out all the blitz games from his personal database.
Yeah.
They really
not only
are.
Anand, you know, some of these Ukrainian grandmasters, 2700, and I had the opportunity to meet him when we had this traditional grandmaster tournament, open tournament, massive open tournament held in the month of December. And one of the things they were doing as soon as Mega Database, which is released in December as well. So Mega Database obtained, he had someone sitting down to delete all blitz games, all games that, you know, walkover games, games that ended in a draw. And then they were using you know, like 2600 clubs, that's what they called it. So all games, decisive games played by 2600 players, both of them. So you don't get a 2600 playing with 2400, but they have these elite games and then they work on these games. And of course, you know, with all these engines now, you know, doing a great job of, you know, finding novelties, finding new moves. You know, it's the preparation has gone up to a very, very competitive level now. You know, I think one of the things you find is that a very well researched book with all the opening lines, you know, obviously is done, and then 15 or 20 days later, there's another game which changes what's been written. So that is what is happening right now.
Well, the opening has gone most unexpectedly for me because Gormally castled. I didn't expect him to allow this simplification, and Ems has taken on d4 as you said.
Yeah. It just looks illogical to, you know.
Why would you allow black an easy ride there, getting the bishops off the board? Is he intending knight b3? Is that the idea?
Well, knight b3. He could be doing knight b3, and then knight c6. Yeah, that could be the move. Knight b3.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. Okay, you go knight b3. What if I attack your c pawn? It's not that easy.
Well, this is what we call a typical gambit, and then we take the d4 with the knight on b3.
The gambit typical for who?
The white's going to get a lot of play for that.
Typical for people who lose pawns in the opening.
Yes, sir. Let's go through that line. You know, I have.
You have some cheapos up your sleeve, no doubt. Okay, let's see them. Come on, then. What are you doing?
It's not a cheapo that I've got to play knight b into d4.
Knight b takes d4, and I will, like some foolish person, snap off.
And then now bishop f4.
Right. Okay. What's the cheapo?
There's lots of cheapos coming up, but like first one.
Say I castle like a good little boy.
So a3 and then rook c1.
A3, run for the hills,
and then rook c1.
And then presumably do a bit more running for the hills. Oh sure, let's run for the hills over here. Knight b takes d4, and I will, like some foolish person. Well, come on, I'm still waiting for the cheapo. I haven't seen it yet. We shall consult the Oracle Deep Fritz 14.
Equal after a4.
You knew that all along, didn't you? This position was equal. Anyway, it's not better for white.
No.
I don't think that's going to happen. He did play knight b3. What is going on here? Well,
if you play queen c7, now I can play queen into d4.
Yeah, but I didn't like that because you could play after that knight c6.
Yeah, and then I go queen h4.
Queen h4. Your intentions are clear. You knew that all along, didn't you? Okay, run. Anyway, it's not better. This knight on b3 is rubbish, Ravi, isn't it? What's he doing there?
Yeah, I mean, like,
it should be next door, getting ready for action.
Yeah, but
not here.
But the point
having a holiday.
Okay. The point is, he has avoided simplification. So, you know, I mean,
I don't think this is bad for black, is it?
Yeah.
But he's playing the opening in a weird way.
Am I having an extra tempo there with bishop f4?
Queen here?
Knight c6.
Yeah.
Queen f4 and bishop f4.
Getting ready for action.
Yeah, but
not here. Okay. Having a holiday.
You're threatening knight d5 now. Then I have bishop.
I might be.
I have bishop g5, and then now I need to pile up on your. So you know.
Okay, d1.
Yeah, okay, d1. As long as
you don't lose your queen, you should be all right. Queen here.
Knight c6.
Yeah.
Queen
Okay, let's. How do we win the queen?
hang on a minute. I have a better move than rook d1, please. Thank you.
All right.
c5.
I might be.
I have bishop g5.
Ah, very tricky.
It's something like that, you know. You got a flick
But
in
is it any good?
after knight e4, cd6.
You don't lose your queen. You should be all right. Alright, we've got to take it. Okay, let's. How do we win the queen? Yeah, this looks better for white if he takes this. Knight takes. Alright. Then you put your rook on c1.
Yeah, one rook on c1, another rook on d1.
Right, we see if this has been played before. Online, here we are. A lot of games still. 21 games. Played early in 1966. The latest game, Gaprindashvili versus Fatil Bekova. Played in 2014. A lot of draws.
Is that a blitz game? Is that a blitz game?
God, there's even longer names there. I'm not going to get involved with that. Right, let's have a look at this. No, the World Seniors Championship. Stuart would be early 1966. Right, let's go back. What happened to that game? Where's it gone? Played in 2014. A lot of draws. Right, what's happened to that game? It's disappeared off the face of the map. We may have to start it again. Alright, so let's start it again. So, for the umpteenth time. G3, bishop b7, bishop g2. There's a check, a block, c5. Gormley castled. Johnny took, knight b3. We're waiting for black to play. The Kibitzer seems to think that the castles is okay, or knight c6 equal. And the knight on b3, although it seems that it avoids simplification, I still don't like the position of that knight. I find it poorly placed, and White's going to have to spend some time redeploying the knight to get it back into the game. So let's move on. Howell versus Arkle. What do we make of this game? Is Keith going to employ his usual tactic of trying to grind the other guy down by playing some really white squared, solid pawn formation, maybe the Fort Knox defence or the Caro-Can or Slav or something like that? That's the usual play with black. It's a Caro-Can. There we are now. No surprises. So Keith gives up the Fort Knox, takes up the Caro-Can. Not a lot of difference. So,
is it a must-win game for Howell?
I would have thought so, yes. Half work behind with the white pieces. He's got to try, and he's got to try hard. So,
white pieces, so he's got to try.
He plays knight c3,
and then
d takes e4, knight takes e4, and now Keith's favourite, the rock solid Smyslov variation,
knight d7.
Knight d7.
So in this variation, if white went on developing his pieces in a normal way, black is going to be able to get knight g to f6, and there's a lot of games in that.
Yeah, the main positional idea, of course, is to prepare knight g f6, which in turn exchanges off white's best posted piece. So strategically, it's very well motivated. The only drawback is that knight d7 slows down the queenside development, which of course is why a lot of people prefer the Capablanca variation, bishop f5, and knight d7 only subsequently. But knight d7, you know, straight away is a perfectly good move, and if you play it, you've got to really know sharp lines like knight g5 or bishop d3, which have kind of taken over from bishop c4, which was the main line for a long time. Now, what did he play?
He played knight g5.
He played knight g5. There we are. Okay, so already with black, you've got to be careful here. There are disasters waiting to happen. You know, if you play this move,
knight e6.
Yeah, and do you know what? This is not as bad as it looks.
Yeah, queen f5 check.
You've got to go check, yeah.
And
then he goes here.
Yeah.
Then you go there, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
Is it there? No, hang on. It can't be there. It must be queen b6. Because you've got to guard c7. You've got to be careful here. There are disasters.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Then he takes this.
No.
Then you take that. Yeah, I have seen this. This is.
No, but what about if I throw in b4?
This is not as bad as it looks. You throw in b4. You've got to go check, yeah. Then he goes here. Yeah. Then you go What so does that do exactly? I take it.
Yeah.
You're obviously in gambit mode this afternoon. I take
Bishop
it.
D2, you go Queen D6.
Yeah, I go back. Yes, sir. And now what? Then he takes this. Then you take that. The only point I'm trying to make is that although Stuart said H6 straight away, and clearly this is motivated by the pawn takes knight, shall we show it? Queen H5 check.
It's not mate.
Not mate. Yet. That will not happen. But I'm just, it's worth making the point that although that looks like a, an absolute bone crusher, black can escape. Although what sort of position this is, I have no idea. I wonder if that's been played. That's got to have been played a few times. Yes. By Nakamura, he's played everything. Look, Sadler Nakamura, I can't believe it. I can't believe that must be a blitz game. No, it's a rapid game. Can't believe it. He's willing to play absolutely everything, Nakamura, isn't he?
It looks to me like it's a Fischer 960 game, where the two bishops were together and the two knights are together. So they're restarting with random chess.
Well, all right. So let's go back to this game now versus Arkle. So here we go. Caro cans, knight d7, knight g5. I take it Keith just played knight gf6. Normal move.
Yeah.
And now you see bishop c4 goes back into the old main line, and then after e6 we have a queen e2 threatening absolute disasters.
Yeah. Knight b6.
And then you go knight b6 attacking the bishop, and then h6 wherever the bishop goes, more or less.
There was a piece of analysis here where after bishop b3, a5 is considered to be the accurate move here.
Yes.
And then that forces, and then you just, if white plays a3, and then you push in with a4, and what you have achieved is this, now this rook can come to a5 and then do something on that line.
But of course, these days they tend to prefer bishop d3 here.
Okay, we have a question from Stuart saying why can't the d4 pawn can be taken in that analysis?
Why can't the d4 pawn be taken in this analysis?
It's knight. Yeah, okay.
Where?
Yeah, now.
You want to take the pawn now?
a5.
Okay. Knight f3, and then knight e5, and then something on f7, and then we'll take a look around, and who knows? Maybe the rook. Yeah, so that's the reason knight f3 and knight e5 is supposed to give white fantastic compensation. So what did he do? This is the position, knight gf6. Did he play bishop d3?
Yeah, played bishop d3.
Okay, that's absolutely standard.
Yeah, and now knight b6.
Knight b6.
And now, if I made a move like, I don't know, there's one cheaper that if you take on d4, you can take on f7. And then you can just go and check. So,
shall we see it? You love these.
You got to break a waste move like a3.
Okay, let's not say c4. Carry on with the game,
yeah,
please.
okay.
Because knight f3 is the
knight
move.
f3 is
all right, let's not waste time on this.
And in comes bishop d4, which is what he does all the time.
Yeah.
And then it's queen e2.
Okay, so now it's worth pointing out. What happens after this? This is now starting to warm up a bit.
I think you would go bishop f3 first.
Yeah, it's got to, because if you take it, then knight e5 check looks unpalatable.
Yeah.
So he takes this, we take this, he takes this.
Yeah, we take on d1.
Yes, he comes here.
And what if the...
Did you see that?
What is the...
Okay, so what's the piece count? We'll go back to our beginner's maxim. When you don't understand the position, count the pieces. It's very important. I don't know what's going on here. This is absolute mayhem, isn't it? Lucky Black's got his knight on b6. Well, then I check on c5 and take the bishop. I don't know, this is unclear. Can I go in and take that rook? Then you have a knight on a8.
No. Bishop g4 now. Bishop g4.
Yeah, okay, check.
King d7.
That's what I'm talking about. Take it off.
Take the knight.
Yeah, you love these. A Ravi Kumar knight on a8. What's going on here?
I got two pieces for the rook.
Yeah, but look at your pieces. They're all over the place. Well, then I check and see flag. I've got a rook and forward. I don't know,
Yeah, but it's not enough.
Well, of course, Keith will probably like this because objectively it must be okay for black, I think.
Yeah.
But the king in the middle, I don't know. White can create some trouble. Okay, that probably won't happen. What does the computer think of that? Equal. Yeah, but look at your pieces. Well, clearly bishop g4. Okay, hang on a minute. So has that been played? Look at these Arkle games. You call up the online database. There's more Arkle games and hot dinners on that little screen.
So each and every one of those games is dinners as well.
And surprisingly, nobody went knight takes f7 against him. Let's page down. There are 55 games so far in the top 10. We've had top 12. We've had 10 Arkle games. There's more Arkle games. 34. He's monopolising this variation. Look at this. He's monopolising it. Okay, so Arkle has played an incredible amount of games. So just a second. This knight takes f7 is so stupid. h3 slight advantage to white. That's so stupid. Bishop takes f3 slight advantage to black. It is. Alright, so that won't happen. So what did Howell do? He's got to cope with incredible experience in this line.
Bishop, queen, he played queen e2.
e2.
And then bishop h5.
Bishop h5.
And white played h3, preparing the g4.
Yep.
Black played h6.
h6?
Yeah, g4.
g4.
H times g5.
This game's going off the rails already.
Pawn takes h5.
Yeah.
So what did Howell do?
Rook takes h5.
Incredible experience in this line.
Bishop takes g5. Competition move now.
Right, this is all prepared in advance. And we'll have a competition move, yes, okay. We've got to give away something. What's that book on the end?
This book did survive the first.
It survived the first competition. I doubt it's going to survive the second competition. Practical chess defense. Jakob Agar. Okay. So the usual rules, if you've come from the tournament hall or you've seen the move played or you've got a smartphone working, don't enter. What did Keith Arkle play in this position?
And we'll have a competition move, yes, okay.
We'll help you.
We've got to give
There you are.
something. What's that on the end?
Yes, sir, you're first. Centralising the queen, attacking the bishop. Very sensible, sir. No.
Practical chess
Yes, please.
defense. Jakob Agar.
Knight where?
Okay.
Knight g4.
So the usual
Knight g4.
or you've seen the move
Didn't
played.
even consider that move.
Don't enter.
No. You're next. G6, solidifying the pawn structure, losing a knight. The bishop takes f6. But apart from that, no problem with that move at all. Yes, sir. Queen d7, preparing to cast on the queen side.
And
Knight e5, is he losing, dropping more pieces? Could be dropping quite a few pieces there. The rook might be dropping off after bishop takes f6. Nope.
G6,
What did Keith Arkle play? So far, the audience seems to be in a fairly generous mood this afternoon. Pardon? E6. Well, I think the best thing that could be said about that is it's better than G6. No, he didn't play E6. Sorry, sir. Knight A4, going for the queen side. Gosh. A new approach. Nope. Rook takes G5. That is correct. Right, that's the first thing. Okay, now why?
E6.
Please, your analysis.
Well, I think the best thing that can be said about that is it's better than G6.
Queen D5, yes, that's what we call a fork in the trade.
Knight A4, going for the queen side. Gosh.
We'll give you the first few chapters of the book if you like.
G5, that is correct. Right, that's the first thing. Okay, now what?
Yeah, let's go. So, you got the right move, but is there a better move than Queen D5?
Queen D5, yes, that's what we call a fork.
Yeah, that's what he did. That's what he did. Yeah, at the cost of having one less rook than him. So what's the situation here? This is the game. Is Howell still thinking?
Yeah, he played rook into d4.
Right, anyway, congratulations, and you fully deserve the book. Can we kindly pass that back to him? Well done. Well done.
Right move. But is there a better move than queen?
Okay, so black has sacked the exchange. Has he got enough?
And now queen into d4, and as the gentleman said, Arkham has been thinking, okay, first thing,
Well, he's got a pawn for the exchange.
he's got a pawn for the exchange.
He's got a better pawn structure.
And if I do long castle, is he going to come in with knight a4 or something like that?
Well, long castles looks like the obvious move, doesn't it? And then queen f4 check, of course, can be met by.
Queen e3.
Well, I think slightly better is that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then you don't have to ruin your pawn structure. So queen takes d4. First of all, we'll consult the on oracle. He hasn't played this before. Sorry, castle on the queen. When now? Queen d5. That looks better, yes, because we're going 1, 2. But now, when you play that move, you have really got to worry about moves. I don't know. There's something about that feels wrong, but maybe not. Now he's on 2 pieces. Bishop g6, queen takes knight check, and that's not what the doctor ordered. Right, so queen takes d4. Let's have a look at it from white side.
So what's he going to do for c3?
Well, of course he can play c3. Let's do one thing at a time. Let's have a look at this. So queen d5. Okay, is that convincing? Now he's on 2 pieces. Bishop g6, queen takes. I mean, don't forget we can allow him to take on a2 and just go c3.
Yeah.
Right. So queen takes d4. So what if I protect my knight? You're going to take that, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then here.
Well, of course he can play.
Well, this is what Arthur wants, isn't it? I mean, like,
That's what he wants.
yeah, I mean, like, you lost the a2 pawn, and then he could go a5, a4, a3.
a5. What's white doing? Picking his nose.
You can allow him to take a2 and just go c3.
Knight a4.
What if I protect my knight?
Threatening queen a1 check.
You're going to take that.
Better stop it then.
And then here.
Yeah, I think that's why we need to play a5, a4.
Well, it's a very interesting and imaginative sacrifice. It's not. It's not. He's being forced out of his.
Knight a4.
Where?
Threatening queen a1 check. Better stop it then.
Knight takes c3. Very nice. But just a second, it's not over till the fat lady sings. King d2 out of check.
Being forced out of his.
And the cheapo, knight f4.
Knight f4. Knock on the door.
Yeah. King d7.
Knight takes c3.
This is definitely not going to happen.
A lot of random moves have been thrown.
King d2 out.
So he's thinking.
Up and get to discover check with your king.
Okay, so this is the game. So, can Howell avoid all of this by simply playing c3? He can, surely.
So c3 is queen d5. And then
Yes,
can
queen d5, and then he's got to play. Well, he can play rook g1, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I was thinking to play knight e4.
That is a jolly good square for the queen because, again, it eyes a2, doesn't it? Okay, so this is the game. So, can Howell?
I think the point.
I don't know, what do the audience think? Has Black got enough for the exchange here? It looks doubtful somehow. But you never know. Sorry? No, it's going to take Black some time to complete his development, isn't it? Because, of course, f7's hanging. That's the problem. That's why White wants to keep his knight where it is. But d5 is a great square for the queen.
And I have a little cheapo here. Can I just show a little cheapo I just worked out?
Just one thing we should reveal. Arkle's used up 30 seconds on his move so far.
Alright. I would like to play rook d1.
There's some cheap and nasty shot coming up, right? Okay. Well, how did I guess?
I'm hoping you're going to take B2.
Just because it's you, I'll take on B2.
And then I want to put Queen E6.
Can I just show a little cheap why it worked out?
Oh.
Yes.
It's all too much. I can't take it in.
Go on, take the Queen, take the Queen. Yes.
I know, I'm still recovering from the shock. You know. That might be quite a strong move. All right, is that Jack? No, who says that? Oh yeah, Queen C3 chess. Yes, please.
Rook D2. Rook D2.
Oh!
Yeah, he gets that. Go on, take the Queen, take the Queen.
Well, I guess in an online bullet game, that's quite a good move. But in the British Championship, where you've got a lot of time to think about your moves. Nevertheless, it is in the position, so watch out for moves like that as we go through the next few moves. So the game position is this one. Howell is thinking, he's plunged into thought, and the fact that Arkham's only used up 30 seconds is fairly revealing. So where did let's just have a look. Where did it go crazy? So Adams Arkle, 2004. He played Bishop D2. Petronius, some game from Greece. H3 occurred. Then we went H6 there. Then he went Knight E4. Is G4 a new move? It is. G4 is the new move. So we turn the engine on at this point. Let's see if he's analysed this beforehand. And G4 is coming up as the top suggestion. So I think that Howell has been analysing this variation using an engine. That's a new move, G4, and you know, if you look at the engine here, it's showing it now as advantage to white.
Can I give a new twist into the line where I played Queen E6? I just want to try to see if the gentleman found that, is there anything like, can we go into that line please? And I don't want to play Queen E6, and I want to play BG6 this time.
You don't want to play, you want to play Bishop G6?
Yeah.
How many pieces is it possible to give away? I should take it.
Yeah, Queen E6 now.
Queen E6, yes. Queen B4 check.
Oh, you got Queen C4 check, very lucky.
It helps to have the engine on underneath.
But this time it's different. Sorry, Rook D2.
Rook D2, yes.
And I'm still threatening mate. Yes.
It really helps to have the engine running. 3,200% engine to help you out. Right. You're up against it, Ravi, this afternoon, I'm afraid. Just bow down to the computer, okay?
Yeah.
Right, so...
Well, it's just an idea. We want to bounce back an idea where, you know...
Alright, so coming back to this line, what's happened in here is that Howell has sprung a novelty on Arkle, and it's absolutely clear when you switch the engine on that he's been using computers to work this all out. So let's keep the engine on as we go through this line. So takes, the engine's still showing nothing special for white. He takes this, and we haven't got any Keith Arkle examples. Rook takes, still showing a slight edge to white. Bishop takes. Rook takes G5. Now this is where it starts getting a bit critical, because black can play E6, he can play Knight BD5. Do you think Keith has analysed this beforehand as well, or he's just kind of reacting? I mean, he's only used up 30 seconds. The suggestion, it looks to me like he's just... Okay, but okay, so he's got 5 minutes over incredibly complicated stuff.
Yeah.
This is where it starts getting a bit critical. Right. Well, then it's a theoretical duel, isn't it? It's a theoretical duel. No previous examples of this line. So Rook takes G5. Arkle's convinced that's good. Knight takes, Queen takes D4. Okay, so you've got 5 minutes. And that's it. Incredibly complicated stuff. So it's a theoretical battle, and who is right?
Yeah, I have a different offer here.
It's interesting that the computer thinks after castles, Queen F4 check is black's best move, and not the capture on A2.
So what happens?
So let's see that. So Queen here, Queen D5, and then the crushing move Knight E6, which is very close to the stuff you were talking about.
So it's a theoretical battle on who is right.
So I'm wondering, has Howell looked at that this morning?
It's interesting that
I mean,
You
like,
reckon?
yeah, I think that, you know.
He's 2,700.
and not the capture.
He could easily have looked at this. We've just looked at it.
So let's see that.
Eh?
Queen here.
I'm not running it, but the cloud is.
And then
Yeah.
the crushing move Knight E6.
So I have a different move in that position. Can we go back to the, you know, text position?
Talking about.
And can I reverse this sack on E6 by playing Knight E6 straight away?
Where?
With the Queen on D4.
Queen on D4, yes, okay.
Yeah, and then Knight E6.
You want to play Knight E6 now. You love that move, don't you? You love that. And now Queen takes B2, winning for black, according to the computer. And if Rook D1, Knight BD5, blocking the file. So he could get some very sharp positions coming here. No wonder he's thinking.
So he has to do a long castle. And
I tell you, I actually think that he's setting a trap.
And now Queen takes B2.
I think he's looked at this morning,
yeah,
using the machine. And the fact that he's thinking for a long time, he's setting this dirty trap. Because what could be more plausible here than to go Queen D5? I mean, then you run into this bone-crunching move. That could be his threat.
and Queen D6 is just Bishop C4.
Because, I mean, what would you play in this position?
I mean, I would,
You're not going to play Queen F4 check, Queen D2, and just then you. The roles are reversed. We used to Arkle grinding people out. Now it would be Howell grinding people out. But this could be his idea. But has he seen this?
Go Queen D5. I mean, then you run into this bone crunching.
Well,
That could be his threat.
Arkle himself is the machine.
Because, I mean,
so this is a very interesting moment in the British Championship.
you're not going to play Queen F4 check. Queen D5.
I think Howell has set a dirty trap in his prep, and he's going to castle on
Reversed.
them.
We used to Arkle grinding.
Because White's showing an edge if Black plays perfectly. So fine.
So let's say you do long castle,
Yeah.
and then I go Queen F4 check.
All right.
So are you going to put the Queen on E3 or are you going to put the Queen on D2?
Well, I think I'm feeling Queen D2 is the
So
right
this is
one.
a very interesting moment in the British Championship.
Then it says just equal after.
I think
Knight
Howell
BD5.
Yeah.
And you know this is where Keith Arkle, you know, engine comes alive inside him, and then he'll play on and on and on and on. So I think, you know, and this is,
It's exchanged down.
yeah,
Up for White. This doesn't matter what the engine is.
no, but he's got super structure there. In my opinion, he can put a pawn on E6, if necessary, put a pawn on G6, and once the bishop on F8 comes alive, you know, this could be his, you know, his territory where, although Howell is an exchange out, but he's got to play his endgame with this broken pawn structure. Could we please highlight the broken pawn structure on F2 and H3, please? You know, this particular
Broken pawn structure on F2 and H3.
yeah, it's going to be, you know, difficult to play with them. If necessary, put a pawn on G6, and once the bishop.
Well, okay, the game continues. You've seen it here first. If Howell's still thinking, he's been thinking now for about 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. I think he's setting a really dirty trap that he's analysed this morning.
Okay. Shall we go to James?
So we're going to move on. Let's see what happens. Yeah, something like that. I've no idea what he thinks about in his spare time. Nor do I want to speculate. So let's go to Jackson versus Williams. All right. So okay, what have we got here?
So the first thing is, I think the marathon endgame, did Sam Williams win that?
He won it in the end. Yeah.
He won it in the end. What do we know about his opponent?
Is he not from Sussex? James Jackson.
I've no idea what he thinks about it.
Sussex, Kent, something like that. A very talented player. So
let's go to Jackson versus Williams.
All right, so really, 139 moves. Okay, but he's young guy, isn't he? Yeah, so he can take it.
So this is going to be the last round between him and Keith Oracle, and then
239.
239.
Right, so let E4. Let's carry on. So E4 by white.
E6,
E6, yep.
D4,
Yes.
D5,
Yes.
Knight C3,
Okay.
Knight F6.
Right, so Simon's been, Simon's been putting forward the widower variation as the best thing since sliced bread. The killer French or something like that. And he goes and plays Knight F6.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Knight D7,
E6, yep.
E5, E5,
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Knight D7,
Steinitz variation, yes.
F4.
Okay, this is going to be heavy theory coming up. C5.
It's a Knight CE2 used to be the Shiro line where...
Well, Anna played that a few times.
Yeah.
He liked it. The Gled Hill variation, I think it's called. Anyway, F4. Keep going.
C5,
Yeah, Knight F3.
Knight F3,
Knight C6.
Knight C6,
Bishop E3.
Bishop E3, A6,
That's, yes.
Queen B2,
Yes.
and now vacuum cleaner coming up with CD4,
The main line.
Knight D4,
Yes.
Knight D4,
Yes.
Bishop C5,
No. C takes D4. Knight takes D4. Bishop C5. Yes.
long castle,
Yep.
Bishop into D4, Bishop into D4,
B5.
B5, and now H4.
Right. Well, this is fairly theoretical, isn't it? Which can easily be verified by just going online. There we are. Lots of games. Don't seem to be many black wins, as far as I can see.
So the point,
In fact, there's one token black win at the end.
okay, is the point here that black is now have to take this bishop on D4. He cannot let this black bishop, pull away.
Why? Right. Well, this is.
Why don't they just leave that bishop,
I mean, he could have taken it on the last move.
Yeah, but he played B5, and I don't know why not bishop F2. What was wrong with bishop F2?
Don't seem to be many
Or
black
was
wins.
it?
Well, I suppose white doesn't see the need to move his bishop. It's just more constructive to play H4.
But it looks to me like quite a nice position. Instead of H4, put the bishop on F2. You may come to H4 later on, and then it looks like but H4 is being played before. It's just a different approach that you can have in this position, and now black is thinking.
Yeah.
So what happens if I play knight into D4, queen into D4, and then I put a queen on D6?
Well, I think you get ground down over many moves. Isn't this like a typical French defence where you've got this bad bishop? I mean, the way black tends to get rid of it is to play B4, then A5, and put the bishop on A6. But you seem to be quite happy to exchange all the pieces. But I just don't like this. Let's see. We play Rook H3 or H5. I'm not sure which is the right way. It's going to be a very passive position for black, isn't it? Okay, what if I play H5?
H6, and you can stop
Then
it.
Rook H3. The way black tends to get rid of it is to play. It's going to get a really horrible passive game, aren't you?
So B4, you're gonna play knight A4,
B4, just
and queen A5 just B3.
yeah, but I just don't like this.
So,
So all the play.
So I don't have bishop B7 and bishop C6.
No. Also, that rook on the third rank is very active now, isn't it? Yeah, this is black doesn't want that, especially Simon Williams. He's looking for active play, not to be grinding away in some really passive middle game. Black's got to be careful in this position. H4 is a good move,
Yeah.
which can be seen from the stats. Look at the stats. Huge number of white wins.
So B4 is what I'm thinking now.
B4 been played 9 times for a cool score of 77.8% for white. Queen A5 is a move. Castles is a move. Grinding away in some really passive middle game. Don't know. It's a slightly mysterious choice by Simon Williams. Why didn't he play the winner?
Yeah. Well, he's left the winner for all of us, and he plays this other line.
That's the way. Yes. B4 been played 9 times for a cool score of 77.8. Well, it's not that clear. It's not that clear.
So it's the danger that Andy, showed that the rook coming via h3, and for h5 you cannot allow that pawn to come to h6. That will create a lot of holes in that square. So when you play h6 and rook h3, that pawn on h5 is quite, kind of, not allowing you to change the pawn structure. Like you have h5 pawn in the Arakhamia variation that you just mentioned. Now, once you played h5 there, I had to go h6. Otherwise, you still could do rook h3, rook g3, isn't it?
I'm certainly thinking about it. I prefer white in this position. Whatever black plays.
So if I played b4 now, are you going to put the knight on a4?
Right, okay, well, probably, yeah, I don't see why not.
And then queen a5, you're going to go b3.
I am.
And bishop b7?
What are you going to do? Cast on the queen side? H5.
h6?
Yeah, and do the same thing.
And the point is now I have knight into d4, queen into d4, bishop c6.
Okay. See what you mean. Okay, fair enough.
And then queen a5, you're going to go b3.
I am.
And bishop b7?
What are you going to do? Cast on the queen side? Okay, I see. Well, I don't know, is this possible? Yeah, and do the same thing. Well, I think this one first. Yes?
Now I have knight into d4, queen into d4. So you...
Oh no, it's like a Sicilian, isn't it now? It's like some sort of Sicilian.
Yeah.
That's why black plays this line.
But I think I can take on a4 now and then play knight c5. You take care, I'm going to take back.
Okay, I see. Well, I don't know, is this possible?
And live dangerously.
When it's not your position. Yes, okay, I don't know what's going on here. Sicilian, isn't it now? It's like some sort of Sicilian. That's why black plays this line. All right, let's go back. Did he do it? What's he done?
Yeah, he's still thinking.
Still thinking, okay. Plenty to think
So
about.
I think he's thinking, why didn't I play the winnover variation?
We've had some moves in this, not the Gali M's, but the Arkhamia game. So after queen takes d4, he did not cast on the queen side, which tends to make a mockery of what I was saying earlier.
Yeah, and he's played c4.
C4, unexpected.
Well, I think he's thinking, why didn't I play the winnover variation?
Clearly to stop queen d5. We've had some moves.
Is he threatening something like knight e6 now that you don't have the check or b2?
So after queen takes d4,
he's taking away the d5 square and he's possibly going to put a knight on e6.
Knight e6 is a threat, isn't it? Yeah. Or is it a threat? It's a kind of like a pseudo threat.
And also now I can go rook d1 and then queen e6 comes alive. Is he threatening something like knight e6?
Say I allow you to do it. There's probably something wrong with that.
Rook d1, now threatening knight.
Not castles?
No, rook d1. Put a knight on castles, you get this queen f4 check.
Castles now, knight takes f7.
So now I can go rook d1 and then queen e6 comes alive. This is quite dangerous.
Yeah, it's probably something wrong. It's dangerous, yeah. Queen has to come over here. Then
and then knight e6.
There might be some sack here. There's bound to be. Well, is this so clear?
Castles, you get this queen f4 check.
It's very clear. Yeah, that's the end, isn't it? Castles now, knight takes f7. So, c4.
Yeah.
Has he found the best move?
And he's played knight d7.
Still playing very rapidly, isn't he?
Yeah, he's playing knight d7. And the point is now queen e5 looks like a very good move. And if you go rook d1, he's planning to play queen e5. So he wants to exchange queens, and then he wants to play this game.
Okay, so I do castle.
You castle now, okay, queen e5.
Queen e5.
Yeah, he's playing knight d7. You gotta go queen b2 now and then knight c5.
Well, I can take it, can't I?
Knight e5. This is what Arthur wants, you know. He gets exactly what he wants. Now he can play that e6, and once the bishop comes alive, you know, you are not going to be happy for long.
Okay, so let's see this bishop coming to life.
Are you playing f5 next or?
I might want.
Yeah, knight back to d7.
Well, I can take it. Let's open this game up a bit.
e5.
So he's closing it down.
Once my bishop comes to c5, we can have a big conversation. It's that kind of a position, you see, where, you know, once that bishop comes alive, you know, it's a different thing, and that knight going back to d7, there is this threat of queen e5, swapping the queens, and, you know, going into a long.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy. I've just given you the d4 square, of course, as well.
I think you should play f4 in that position. Can you treat it in a different way?
You might be right. Right, let's get the game position up here, because it is rather confusing. We've got this variation, we've got to promote it, and then we've got this variation, we have to promote that. I don't know why he's doing that. It must have something to do with broadcast. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. Keith's got to be careful for a little while, but as Ravi says, the square e5 is very important. I'm slightly concerned about the time it takes black to unravel. It takes black a few moves to get his pieces out, in particular to get this bishop into the game. But
I have a different idea now. Can I just run it by you? Can I now give you my bishop on g6? All I want is a monster knight on e6.
That's all you want for Christmas, right? This one. You want this down.
And then I want to put a knight on e6. And then,
in particular to get this bishop into the game. But well, I'll take it. Come on.
Knight e6, and then you go queen e5.
Then I get my knight on a8 again.
But I think it's the wrong approach.
What if I go into complete grovel mode and play it?
Yeah. Rook d1.
I told you it was complete grovel mode.
Okay. Now I got to target g6 without you coming f4. No, f4. Just kill that queen e5. And then, you know, he's going to growl for a longer time now. f4. No, none of his pieces comes out.
It doesn't look like my favourite position of the day, I have to.
It's that monster knight on e6, you know, it's kind of like keeping tabs on everything around that king. And it's that structure of bishop on f8, pawn on f8 with the 2 pawns on e7 and g7.
It's true, completely true.
So,
well, there we are. Are we going to see a spectacular move by David Howell?
I don't think bishop g6 is right, but I think what you should have played, Andy, is bishop g6, grab it.
Right, grabbed it.
Yeah, knight e6, just now ruthlessly go queen e5. And then queen takes e5, knight takes e5.
In,
king d7.
Off.
King c8.
Well, there we are. Are we going to see a
3 minor pieces against 2 rooks? It could be.
3 minor pieces? No way it's going to be that. You haven't got my knight yet. You haven't got that knight yet, my friend. You haven't got it.
Yeah, but that knight is trapped, isn't it?
How are you going to E6. Okay, let's attack this guy. In.
King d7.
Off.
King c8. When knight d7, I got to get that pawn. Let me grab the pawn on c4. Sorry. Let me grab the pawn on c4.
No way.
Not now, just before e6.
Here?
Yeah. Grab that pawn if I can.
Okay, you may do that.
Yeah, and my plan is to shield the d file with the knight on d6.
Rook g1.
Well, you can have the g6 pawn. That's not.
It's very kind of you. I'm going to take it then.
Let me grab the pawn on c4. Sorry. Let me grab
I don't believe this for a minute. I think it's all smoke and mirrors. You're gonna lose this position. Nobody's mentioned. You haven't even mentioned the fact that white six change up. You know, rooks up. Rooks are better than minor pieces. You know, and I aim to prove it.
Okay.
So knight b7. He did play rook d1.
I'm going to take it then.
So what was wrong with this move? Probably everything. But we'll just f takes g6.
Queen e6.
Knight e6. It likes grovel mode.
Nobody's mentioned.
But now queen b4 check. And then rook c8.
Yeah.
So Howell played rook to d1.
So it's now clearly threatening that bg6.
So what was wrong with this?
And he's happy to play queen e5.
F takes g6. Knight e6.
So queen e5 is your move. I mean,
Queen e5.
is he going to play something like knight e4 now? So all that is going to lead to some different type of middle game, isn't it? So queen e5 now, and essentially play against the pawn on f2 and h3. And
it's quite hard, isn't it? It's quite hard. If he goes into, if he exchanges queens, then it's not that easy.
No, it's easy. So should you play now? All that is going to lead to some different type of middle game. You can't play f4, that's the problem.
Quite hard. So rook d1.
So I should play h4 now. Queen e5, h4. That
h4, and then what is it? e6.
e6, yeah.
Quite hard, isn't it? It's quite hard. If he goes into, if he exchanges
Rook h3.
queens, then it's not that easy.
I found a different, like maneuver in the game against winning. And one rook came to e3 from a3. Or
Take it off.
Yeah. And then now is the time I just want to release my bishop e2. I don't want to take the king. I want to take with the bishop because I want to keep bishop h5 as one of the. But now that bishop comes alive to c5, and it's not easy anything at all. It's not easy.
I definitely prefer white here. Push h5, h6.
Yeah, h5, yeah, h6.
I definitely prefer white. I think there can come a point where these
okay, let's give it a go. King e7.
Okay, onward.
Take it, chop it off. Rook g8. But now that bishop
okay.
c5, and it's not easy anything at all.
Black.
Bishop e3.
Bishop e3. Yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Push h5, h6.
Yeah,
it's not easy at all. Not at all easy. So rook d1 was played, and that's the position we have in the game.
Yeah. I think that you should take with the bishop and not with the king.
Right, we've come a long way, and we need to go back to the board one game, which was now just to revisit the opening. It was a bishop f4, Queen's Gambit, where black played this knight bd7 move. Hawkins seemed partial to that move. And now, I certainly didn't expect Pert to play Queen c2. As I said earlier, the theory is that you wait with your queen in the Queen's Gambit till black plays c6, because black's thought to be able to play c5 in a position like this, open up the c file, and then somewhere down the line, that queen's in the wrong place. It's target for black pieces. So what did he play after Queen c2?
Yeah, Queen c2, c5.
He played c5, okay, so that is completely normal, yes.
Rook d1.
As I said earlier,
okay.
Queen a5.
Yes.
Knight d2.
Okay.
C takes d4. E takes c4.
Yep.
D takes c4.
Yep.
Knight takes c4.
Okay.
Queen d8.
So what did he play after Queen
Bishop e2, and I kind of like White's position here. You know, he's quite, very well developed, isn't he?
Okay.
Queen a5.
Yes.
Knight d2. So bishop e2 and isolated pawn. Rook behind the isolated pawn, which is one of the correct things to do.
Did black play a5? a6, sorry?
No, he went knight b6.
Knight b6, yep.
He's got to head to d5. Castle. And in this position, one of the things that black need to solve is where is he going to put the bishop on c8. The best diagonal that you can get is on the a8 to h1 diagonal, but it's not easy as easy as it looks. So you got the knight on b6 blocking its path, and if you played knight bd5, possibly bishop d3, and that could be some kind of counterplay on c7. Something could happen on c7.
Well, okay. Is it possible just to move the bishop out straight away?
Yeah, bishop d7 played in the game. Knight,
and then maybe rook c8, and you begin to see what we said about the queen.
Yeah, knight e5.
Yes, keeping the pieces on.
Rook c8.
Yeah.
Queen d3.
Queen d3.
Yeah, knight f6 to d5. And Nick Burt is thinking. So,
well, okay. Is it possible?
So the first thing is that, you know, White has to now decide where the bishop has to go. So the bishop should go to g3, where it, you know, it could remain in g3, which is what I think could happen. You could also go back to c1, but it looks very unnatural to put the bishop back on c1. And of course, exchanging on d5 is not a good thing because the knight on b6, which is kind of slightly inactive, will come into play. So I'm expecting bishop going back to g3.
You didn't mention bishop d2.
Bishop d2. I don't like to withdraw in that diagonal. No,
I don't like it either.
Yeah. I mean, shall we play bishop g3? You know, which is sensible thing to do.
Okay. So the first thing that comes to mind is how can we attack on the c file somehow?
So can Hawkins play bishop a4 here?
You didn't mention bishop d2.
Bishop d2. I don't like to withdraw in that
Maybe.
diagonal.
I don't like it either.
I mean, I got a strong outpost on d5.
c1 perhaps.
Yeah.
So,
And the point now is that, of course, I can take on c3.
how can we attack on the c?
And if you take with the pawn, and you know, the c4 square is going to be in some kind of trouble, isn't it? Queen, oh, can't play queen d5.
It looks like a typically solid, tough position from black to break down, and White's pieces are on slightly odd squares. He's got an isolated queen's pawn, but he hasn't got the normal level of activity because his queen is on the square where the bishop normally goes.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
He hasn't got the edge, in my opinion. Playing with White, he hasn't got the edge. So for bishop d3,
Also blocks the queen coming across to h3, doesn't it? The bishop going back to g3. That's what I don't like about it. White would really like to line up with his queen then his bishop here, but he can't. So I think knight fd7 is very well timed.
so bishop d3, can I play a6 and set up another?
Why not? a6 is a normal sort of move.
I'm
What
threatening
is,
now.
what is White doing?
I'm threatening knight into c3 followed by bishop d5, which is unpleasant
Also
for
blocks
White.
the queen coming across to h3.
So we could see a very big game here today
That's what I
between.
don't like about it. White would really like to line up with his queen then his bishop here.
It looks quite nice for black. You know, I can see. Okay, let's try to, you know, put some kind of understanding
Why not?
in this
A6.
position. Okay, I don't think you know, you could. The first point, he's got to decide where the bishop goes. Bishop c1 looks very passive, and the first thing I think he has to somehow protect this c3 knight so that he doesn't allow knight to c3, where you have to take with the pawn, and then you have this backward pawn on c3. So that's something he's trying to avoid. And in terms of black, he's got a very good development, and he's not concerned that the bishop on d7, you know, being taken by a knight. He's quite happy. The knight on e5 is very active piece, and you know, taking d7 is only going to help black. So I think Hawkins has got a good position here, and I think Nick is being forced to play with an isolated pawn, which I think, given a choice, would prefer a very slight edge here and there, you know, to push on. But this position is quite clear now.
Will he play bishop d2?
Yeah, he's played bishop d2. And if I played knight into c3, you got to take bishop into c3. And if you take with the pawn on c3, then a6 is still thing. So I think now a6 could be a very nice move here.
Is he thinking about f4, f5? It seems very difficult to get these moves in.
No, he's thinking about knight e4, knight c5.
Well, he played bishop d2. Again, a really quite hard position. White's got the isolated pawn, but he hasn't got the normal activity you'd normally associate with that. So he's got to play this position in a slightly different way to normal.
Yeah. So what happens if black tries knight into c3? The point I'm making is, if you take the bishop, I'm quite happy with that position. I can play bishop a4 first, and then once you weaken yourself with b3, come back with the bishop on c6.
Well, I was just wondering whether black needs to do that just yet. I mean, what if he just goes bishop c6? A slightly different way to normal.
Yeah, but then you allow knight e4.
Knight e4, yeah. Then knight f6 is white getting in.
Knight c5.
Well, that might.
No, I think that
might be a bit risky, right?
Yeah.
There'll be some way to win something here. Bishop takes knight, yes?
Yeah, pawn takes.
Yeah, and then knight a4.
Yeah, can't I play b4?
And then knight b2.
Yeah, and then I need to.
And then you don't. You have to trade the queens. Then.
Yeah, trade the queen.
It looks like a bit of an adventure down to b2.
No, you're winning.
I'm winning. Really?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I have to play knight to c6 first.
The bishop on b2, yeah, the bishop on d2. All right, well, it's complicated. It's complicated. Pert's played bishop d2. Both players probably got what they want to an extent. I think White would prefer to be a bit more active than he is. Black, very solid, but what does he do next? Let's go on. Jackson Williams, what have we got? Any more moves? Right, well, it's complicated. It's complicated. Pert's played bishop.
Yes, we have a few more moves. d4 played by.
d4 played.
And now the knight went e2. And now what White is saying is, if you ever take on d4, my knight is going to be, anchored in on d4 quite nicely, and then your plan of f5 has much more potential.
I suppose you could go queen a5 here, then we just go king b1. Yeah, black's got to be really careful in these positions. He doesn't castle into a massive white attack. I'm just wondering if we go knight b6 here.
Well, knight b6. Can't I just take on b6 and put another knight on d4 and go to that ending? Take off b6 and put another knight on d4 and play this endgame. Now that you played b4, you weakened yourself much more.
Yeah, black's got to be really careful. Yeah, it looks horrible. It's a typically bad French sort of position, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if we go knight b6 here. This type of position was one of the reasons people gave up the classical French. I think it was Rubinstein who played out some model endgames in this type of position, where all White did was control d4, and that was enough almost to win the game, because Black couldn't shape the control. I mean, the way they normally shape the control in the French is to get f6 in and break up the White pawn centre, but I'm not sure, Black can do that here. This pawn on b4 could become weak. Rook h3 to g3 is very quick.
What happens if I just castle, say, take the conflict on?
Castles.
Yeah. And I'm saying, come and get me.
Okay, rook h3 again.
Okay, rook h3.
You're going to go f6?
No, I'm going to go a5. I'm going to ask you to come and get me.
Well, the invitation might be accepted, that's the problem. h5.
h6.
Rook g3.
What happens if I just bishop a6?
You're already asking for it, aren't you?
Yeah.
No fear.
No fear.
Okay, rook h3.
Smith is here.
Wow.
No, I'm going to go a5. f5, I want to play queen d4. Queen in d5.
Cold blood.
And then he's got f6. He's got f6. f6.
You're both lucky.
You're really asking for it, aren't you?
So it's F5 now, you know.
Okay, but the defence is hanging by a thread. I mean,
No, the defense doesn't hang by a thread. I have a nice cheapo for the gentleman. Can I show him? So let's play the line with F5.
you really want to play a 5?
Yeah, Queen into D4.
Yes.
I'm gonna have the last stuff. Queen into H6.
All right.
Queen into E5.
Yeah.
F6.
What?
Oh, Queen D1. Sorry.
Okay, but the defence. Who had the last laugh there? I wasn't counting. I wasn't counting.
Now I was only looking at F6.
Right, folks, that's not going to happen in the game. Now, I think Simon Williams is feeling a bit uncomfortable with this position. Let's see if there's been any previous examples. There have been a few previous examples, and White has won 2 of them. Black has drawn 1 game. A5 seems to be the move, or Queen A5.
Yeah, A5. So what are you suggesting for A5?
Now, I think. Well, what does he do? He played King B1 or Rook H3. I mean, Rook H3 looks thematic, doesn't it?
Yeah, Rook H3, Bishop A6.
If there's been any A6 previous examples, there have been a few previous examples, and White has won 2 of them. Well, let's see. H5,
H6.
A5, and look there.
A5. So what are you suggesting for A5?
You're going to castle into it?
Yeah, King castle into it.
You may have to castle.
Now F5.
I mean, Rook H3 looks thematic, doesn't it? You don't feel that's a bit too quick?
F5, Queen H4.
Well, if we can get it in, play it.
Queen H4.
You're going to castle into it? You may have to castle.
Yeah, he's threatening, Queen. He's not threatening Queen F6, he's threatening Rook D7. Yeah, so there is a lot of dangers.
Okay, if I was trying to predict what he would do, I would say he would go A5. But we haven't got any more moves, so let's go back to some other games and revisit Gormali M's. We haven't been there for a while. I didn't like this knight on B3. I think it's going to take White time to reposition that knight. So M's has got, I think, a comfortable position here.
Bishop E7, Bishop E7, allowing knight B into D4.
Yeah, but how many times has one moved that knight?
Fine, his knight is reached D4, into that position. So castle.
Yep.
Now knight B5 threatening.
Well, should Black have stopped that with A6? I didn't like this knight.
Yeah, you could have stopped that with A6, but then
and left the knight in limbo in the middle.
Yeah.
M has got, I think, a comfortable position here.
Bishop E7. Well, anyway, he's hoping to play B3, B2. That's his plan. If he stopped him. Now that he played castle, and in came knight B5, and now Black played D5.
Knight B5, D5.
And then now C takes D5, Bishop takes D5, Bishop F4, solid development, Knight A6, and no more moves, but looking at this position, I'm quite concerned about the knight on A6. So it has to remain there to stop something like knight C7. So can I prepare like a move like A3 just to play B4 and then make that knight stay on A6 for a longer period? Knight A6.
You think that Black's in difficulties here?
No more moves, but looking at this position. So what about Queen A4 now? Queen A4 is
Knight
for knight C5. So I need to stop that. So I need to play A3. So he doesn't have knight C5. A3. Just let's stop that knight coming to C5 in a minute.
Well, let's just move it. I'm not afraid of it.
Knight C7.
Then you're going to take my bishop. You think that Black's in difficulties here? I suppose this is a little bit better for White.
Yeah,
if he just moves the bishop back.
Bishop D2. Yeah. But before I do this, I can also play B4. That's much more. You got knight B3 then.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit better for white. So we're trying to find better than that.
So he played rook
A3.
C1. No, he didn't play A3. He played rook C1, which is a bit more logical. Now that he's hitting the C7 square with the rook on C1, with the bishop on F4 and the knight on B5. So, you know, if black goes knight C5, then of course B4. And can the pawn, if you take the pawn on A2 with the bishop, then it's queen A4.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit better for white. So we're trying to find better than that. What if I went queen D7 here?
Yeah, now queen A4.
Then knight C5.
Yeah. So now I think he will go knight C3. That's the main problem. And then, you know, he's just his pieces on A6, the knight on A6. It's gonna, you know, he's gonna find himself very, very hard to get there. And for queen D7, I can also go knight C7, knight C7, rook C7. You know, he's got this flow going for him. You know, he's got pieces on the right square. So we could be seeing a very, very, you know, nice squeezing game in this position. You know, white is going to try to squeeze as much as possible from this slight lead in development. Find himself very, very hard to get there. And for queen D7, I can also go knight C7.
Yeah, it's not completely easy for black, not trivial to equalise in this position at all. A bit funny, you move that knight around so many times. Knight B2, then knight B3, then knight takes D4, then knight B5, and he's still got an edge.
Hey, that looks quite difficult for black, isn't it?
Sorry, what's the position in the game? Knight A3, rook C1, that's the actual position. Yeah, looks like a slight edge to white. Right, moving back to Howell, what has happened there? So rook D1 was the last move we had.
And now, strangely, Keith Arkell declined to exchange the queens, and he's put the queen on F4.
Right, so why does he do that as opposed to, perhaps he wants to reserve the square E5 for his knight?
Yeah, but I think H4, knight E5, he's looking at knight E5 now.
So rook D1 was the last move. He clearly wants to put the knight on E5. So this is a tough position to assess. Black's the exchange down, a clear exchange down, but white's got fragmented pawns. Black's got a pawn for the exchange. White's pieces are not that well coordinated yet.
Yeah, but if I just quite happily allow the knight on E5 by playing H4.
So H4, okay, the knight comes in.
Yeah, and then bishop C2.
This is a tough position to assess. Black's the exchange down, a clear exchange down, but white's got fragmented pawns. Okay, say I go to exchange some pieces off. I like my knight on E5. What if I go rook D8?
If I just quite happily allow the knight on E5.
Then I suppose you take it and go queen E3, don't you? Something like this?
Yeah.
And then well, knight comes in. You've probably got to exchange the queens.
Contact castle in that position is dangerous.
Okay, so here, castle. Yeah. It looks pretty dangerous. I mean, let's not forget, I can also get the queens off this way, can't I?
Yeah, that's a bit more annoying for black. But then you lose a C4.
But then C4 goes with check. King to C3.
Knight D6.
Yeah, that's a move. Yeah, it's really not easy to keep things under control in this position.
So he played queen D2, offering exchange, and he's saying now that if knight comes to E5, he can put the bishop on E2.
Yep.
So now the queens come off the board.
Yeah.
And then I'm expecting rook takes E2, and then this exchange down endgame. Which I think Howell, has to find a way to get some activity done. Once, as I said, after rook D2, I'm playing E6, and I have this such threat of bishop coming to B4. So you might have to play king D2.
No, let's play rook takes D2, and if he's A6, I'm not going to panic. I'll just go A3.
No, but king d2, then you can put the rook on, other rook on e1.
Well, that's true, but let's just satisfy ourselves that black's not going to land any cheapos here. So you could take with the king. Then what, e6?
Yeah, e6.
And you put the king on c2, you mean, or what?
Yeah, no, I mean like king c3.
Wow.
No, that's
You could do that.
Yeah.
Then if this, stay 3.
no, but king d2.
I'm kind of aiming some kind of f4, f5. But if this black king has to be stuck on e8,
You could take with the king.
then you know.
Then what, e6? Yeah, it's quite hard to know exactly what's going on in this position. Now, white's got a fair bit of work to do before the rook's really come into play. It's just a very tough position to assess.
But I think white has
White, I think white has more winning chances than black. Yeah.
So
It took with the king. It could be a long game. It did take with the king.
Yeah. The thing I like about the king is that I remove cheapos on f3, and my king now can go to c3, which protects that pawn. You see, that's what I like a lot about that position. And now if black plays knight e4, I can go bishop e2. I can go bishop e2. Yeah, my knight on g5 doing a spectacular job.
Right, so I think it's coming up to the afternoon break, so we're going to just review what's going on in all the games and then take a short break. We've got a full set of games going this afternoon, which is very good for everybody. So Pert versus Hawkins, last move, bishop d2.
And he played f6.
f6 wants to drive the knight back. Does he take the bishop?
Knight into d7, queen into d7.
Okay, so let's summarise. White still has his isolated pawn, but he's got a bishop pair.
So why going to put the bishop on g4 now to force f5?
Yeah, but f5 is not so bad, What's weak about that, I don't mind playing f5 at all.
No, I want to put my bishop on g4, force f5, and then put the bishop on f3. Now I have a specific target on e6.
Okay, so let's summarise. White. Okay, what do you think the computer assessment is going to be?
Equal.
I think 0.1 in favour of white.
Let's see.
Let's have a look. Well,
yeah, rook f1 looks a bit more.
it just doesn't feel like the sort of position where black is being threatened in any way. I imagine Hawkins will be really quite delighted with this because he'd be expecting to be under a bit more pressure than this from Nick Pert. Anyway, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility that could be drawn quite quickly, but for the moment the game continues. Jackson versus Williams, we've got a knight e2 here. Any more moves after
knight e2? He's taking the gauntlet and he's castle.
Castle, brave move. He'd be expecting to be under a bit more pressure than this from. Well, okay, difficult game in prospect, but I think I probably prefer to be white. As I say, I think black's thinking about shaking up this pawn centre with f6.
Yeah, but if I play h5 and you play f6, then I go h6. Quite nasty.
Well, I think I will play h5.
Yeah, h5 is the move.
And then what do you do?
Yeah, this is the thing, you can't allow h6, and now my rook is going to swing along h3 and then get into the right square.
I definitely prefer white. Engine assessment 0.7. Let's see. No, nowhere near right. It says equal. A5, Queen E7. And then what do you do? Deep Fritz likes black's tough French position, so there's a lot of play left in that game, and white hasn't even played f5 yet. Or h5 even. So Gormley ends.
No more moves after rook c1.
You didn't like this. What do you think the computer assessment is? How much is white in the ascendancy?
I think probably plus
half a point.
Plus half a pawn. Or probably, yeah.
Equal.
Yeah, equal.
Black can play rook c8 apparently. There's a lot of play left in that game, and white has to. So after rook c8, is it worth pointing out that takes? Can you take on a7? There's something wrong with that. Queen d7 traps the knight. This is an important little point in the position. So it could be that rook c8 is just okay for black.
Yeah. Couple more moves in Keith Arthur's game. After king d to e6.
Yes.
And now he's pulled that bishop e2, as I was saying, that the right square for the bishop is on e2. And then now he's going to operate, with the point that bishop h5 at some time, if the knight, and he's going to operate that black can't get his other pieces into play.
Very tough position. I think I prefer to be white. I think at some stage he will manage to get his rooks into the game, but black's pawn structure's connected, his opposite colour bishops on the board, all these mitigating black's favour. But black's king is a bit tied down to f7, that's what I'm slightly worried about. The fact that black's tied to that pawn could mean that he remains passive. So bishop c5 and then king e7 would be a way to get the pieces moving, and I honestly think that's what he'll do.
Yeah, if he plays bishop c5 now.
Yes, anything wrong with that? Looks totally normal.
Yeah, bishop c5.
Black's king is a bit tied down to f7.
It could be like.
You don't really want to play f4. Could mean.
No, bishop c5.
So bishop c5 and then king e7 would be f2 pawn is on free. Way to get the pieces moving. And,
so is he going to play rook h1 now?
Yeah, some move defending that pawn.
And then get the king to c3 or
get the king up here.
Yeah, bishop c5. Could be like
very tough position. I don't know what's going on here. Black's position seems to have improved over the last couple of moves somehow. So, alright, bishop e2, he's playing it very slowly, but bishop c5 and then king e7 must be a plan for black. Don't know, long way to go in that game. And then finally, will Mali ends any more moves?
Rook c8 played.
Rook c8 played, okay, so that's tending towards equality. Right, 16:42, we'll be back at 5:10, and we'll go through to the finish then. We're going to lock up in here, so we'll see you back in about 25 minutes. Thank you very much. Don't know, long way to go in that game. And then finally, will Mali ends any more moves?
Rook c8 played.
Rook c8 played, okay, so that's tending towards equality. Right, 16:42, we'll be back at 5:10, and we'll go through to the finish then. We're going to lock up in here, so we'll see you back in about 25 minutes. Thank you very much.
1 2 1 2 testing testing. Okay, hopefully this isn't as echoey. If it is, then I will try and fix this, but I'm thinking it's just the HD microphone in Andy Martin's laptop.
Spent half of that week here, so I might find out about that.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Still broadcast.
Yeah. Just trying to work out where this echo is coming from. Just a little bit. Well, what I've done is I've just restarted the stream, so hopefully it's still streaming. It should just be still streaming. Yeah. I mean, what's the audio like on this at the moment? It's about 10 seconds. About 10, 15, 20. Depends how long the upload is. I think it's about 25 seconds, something like that, maybe.
Perfect.
There we go. It was on stereo, not
There we go.
mono. Yeah. There we go. That should work now, hopefully. There we go. Enjoy the commentary.
again? Oh. In fact, it's been as hard for anything I've ever seen. Have you had any results yet?
No.
Nothing at all.
Welcome back to the second half of the commentary session here in Warwick, and welcome to our viewers online who I believe have been experiencing some problems with the sound. We hope we have rectified this problem, and that you will enjoy uninterrupted coverage of the second half of this broadcast. Welcome to our huge audience here in Warwick, which I'm sure will build up as the afternoon continues. We have 4 games on the top 4 boards in progress, and Gormally versus Ems will be the first game that we revisit. Now, when we looked at this before the break, Ravi Kumar was slightly concerned about the position of this knight on a6. Essentially, it's a normal type of position, with perhaps black having the slight disadvantage of an offside knight. Fairly balanced apart from that. So Ems has played his rook to c8, and the point of this move is that white can't win a pawn by knight takes a7 because of queen d7, which traps the knight. So that's why he played rook c8, and since then we've had a3, which of course is a good move. It restricts the knight. Gormally took on Ems took on c1, queen takes c1, and now queen to a8. Another good move, just making room for the rook on f8 to come to c8, and to a certain extent exposing the position of white's queen. The queen on an open file is not really where she wants to be. I would imagine black is fairly comfortable here. I would imagine there's a way to get this knight back into the game at some point. Well, Gormally played b4. Another attempt to restrict the knight. Rook to c8. So everything's going to hinge on whether white can make something of that outside knight on a6. Can he restrict black's possibilities as a result? From where I'm sitting, actually, it seems unlikely, because white's possibilities are already limited. I mean, first of all, where's he going to put his queen? I don't immediately see a square. I mean, it can go to b2, obviously, and yeah, it's hard to see a square for the queen, which is logical. I mean, what I anticipate is really there being some trades along the c file. You know, white might have to play rook c1 in a minute, and then the pieces are coming off. So, for instance, if queen b2, can black already get on with the business of redeploying his knight? Okay, well, we'll let that take its course, and Gormally did in fact play queen to b2. So, as I say, everything's hinging on whether, you know, black can get this knight back into the game, and if he does, I actually expect a short draw in this game, because symmetrical pawn structure. The only small thing that white's working with is that poor black knight. You may.
Black immediately attacks bishop 3, e4, e4, with the idea of putting the other knight.
Bishop e4, yep.
To d5.
Yep.
Won't restrict the white bishop, the dark square bishop, and also it controls c7. The knight can go back. The other knight can go back to c7.
Well, let's say he plays knight c3 against that.
Can't I play bishop d6 for the gentleman's suggestion? instead of knight returning, bishop d6, and then if the rook comes to c2, and then I just
You're taking a risk here, letting the rook in, aren't you?
yeah.
Because e2's hanging. Yes, I mean you could easily play bishop e4, correct? Yeah.
So bishop d6, rook c2, queen d4. I was thinking that, you know, now if you allow me to exchange that bishop, that monster knight is going to sit on d6.
Right, let's go on. Pert versus Hawkins.
Right, Pert versus
Ravi has rejoined me. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Knight takes d7, queen takes d7. Rook fe1.
Rook fe1, which was the preferred move. And now f5. And this is what I didn't like about this position, that you're leaving a very, very big hole on e5 square. And immediately, White wants to get the queen to b3, which is one of the ideas there. So he goes knight into d5. And if
Black captures back with the knight.
can't take with the queen because of bishop f3 and into b7. It's quite dangerous.
But of course, Black's happy to get his knight on b6 into
Yeah,
the game, so
yeah,
why not?
And then now queen b3,
Yep.
angling on the knight, angling on the diagonal, and now threatening something like bishop f3, followed by my cheapo rook into e6.
Yeah, I still doubt that there's any sort of advantage in this position for White. For instance, let me kick off with bishop f6. Black's pieces are very well coordinated. They're covering a lot of
F3,
squares.
Bishop f3.
Bishop f3, yeah, now rook fd8, something like this.
Yeah, and then bishop a5.
Okay, what are you doing here? I know you're attacking my rook, but b6?
Yeah, that's what I want you to play. And then what I'm counting on is that you know, even if I put my bishop on c3, you can't exchange knight for a bishop, because then that will leave you with that powerful, you know, your weakness on e6 is gonna.
Yeah, but what's your next move?
Bishop c3. Yeah, I mean, once you take knight into c3 and allow me to take pawn at c3, that's going to be even more problematic for you.
Well, to be absolutely honest, I don't think this position is that problematic for Black. Let me try rook c6.
Yeah. Are you threatening to double and do things like that?
Well, I'm working on it. I'm not sure where I'm going to double, but I'm certainly thinking about it. I might even triple. You never know. I don't think this is very much for White. Honestly, let's have a look.
Rook e2.
Equal.
Rook e2. And then rook e d2, you're going to go knight d5.
Rook e d2, go back, knight d5.
And then now the other rook to e1.
e1, and then apparently rook d6. Turn the machine off for making me lazy. Okay, you might have a faint edge.
Yeah.
But that's all it is.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, I will get something like g3 on, but it's a very, very minute edge. You know, it could fizzle out. In fact, he's played bishop f6 straight away.
Yeah, but I mean that's just a natural move. You know, it's bishop's working with the pawns. The knight is very well entrenched on d5. Obviously, you can take it off, but then you've got a weak pawn on d4. I just think that has a likelihood of fizzling out.
Okay, so bishop f3.
All right, rook fd8.
You're playing that. Okay.
Well, I think so.
And you're not threatening bishop to d4 because of bishop g5. If I went g3.
G3.
I want you to take on d4.
Why should I? I think I'm going to play rook c6 again. I quite like this move. This time I might get some activity on the queen side. You never know.
Bishop f6, and
it is just a infinitesimal advantage to White.
hang on a minute. Let me try a different way. Sorry. Bishop
This guy
F6,
never stops, does he?
Bishop B5.
Bishop, or you want to go round the other way?
Yeah,
Bishop B5.
yeah.
Okay, what exactly does that do apart from attack my queen?
Yeah, it attacks the E6 and then
Right, Queen D6.
yeah, that's what I was thinking that you should play. And
And what are you doing? Is my question.
going Bishop C4 now.
Well, at the risk of repeating myself, Rook FD8.
Am I playing some Bishop B4 now and then going into some kind of endgame, having snapped your E6 pawn and then Rook on
Bishop
C8?
here.
And then knight into B4 is Rook into D6. That's my threat.
Okay, what if I just trade everything off? So takes, takes,
Yeah,
takes.
Bishop takes.
Yeah.
I definitely have a slight edge now.
The problem is with this position that you might be right.
Well, I like Bishop B5 because I'm getting this extra tempo that I think you should have. For Bishop B, you played Bishop F6, Bishop B5. I think Queen D6 is.
Well, certainly you've got to keep in touch with the pawn at E6.
Yeah, so you
So
gotta
that
play
looks
Queen
now
D6.
this move.
And the next move is Bishop C4, and this is where I think that.
And then this move. Clever move. Okay, what if I just like queen, you're going to put your bishop on C5 perhaps?
Yeah.
What if I just go back, defend?
Okay. I want to put my bishop on A3.
Why? Because it's the remotest square on the board or something?
Yeah, well, if you play Bishop C5, you're going to play B6. And the
Why are you
thing-
putting it there? I
Yeah.
just don't get it.
Yeah, because I don't want you to play knight into B4, but I don't think you're going to play knight into B4 now. But I'm looking, what else can I improve here? There's nothing more for me to improve, isn't it?
Well, that just tends to support what I was saying, that white's got a faint edge, but it's very difficult to do anything with it. So he actually played bishop C4, didn't he?
Directly. Now he's threatening rook into E6, so you can't play queen D6. That's the difference.
Well, okay, so rook FD8 again.
No, he's played bishop. Yeah, rook FD8.
Yes.
Bishop A5, B6, Bishop B5. Kind of going into that territory, but
Break it down.
do I want you to do it? Yeah. Can't I force you to play Bishop A5 now, and force you to play?
You want to play bishop A5?
Yeah, and then-
or you're probing my position.
Yeah, B6.
Yeah, I think I probably got to
Yeah,
do that.
Bishop B5. Hit the queen now, and the queen has to go to.
Doesn't feel right somehow, this whole thing.
Yeah. Queen E7 is, and then I go back to D2.
Okay, let me get. I'm getting fed up with being kicked around.
And then I got to go Bishop D2 now. Now your E6 is hanging. I'm just trying to dislodge his piece position. That's what I'm trying to do.
Well, okay, just come back.
Yeah.
Do your worst.
And now I want to put the bishop on A6 and.
Bishop on A6. He's still trying to muck around with my position. Don't like it. Okay, rook up. Okay, all these subtleties and these refinements are a bit over my head, Ravi. Some might see this as rather tedious manoeuvring
Yeah.
with the bishops, but maybe not. Maybe white can get something. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Let's turn the kibitzer on. Bishop C4, rook C7, rook FD8 equal. All right, we will move on because that has some way to go. On the other hand, it could be a draw quite quickly. Jackson versus Williams. Okay, we've got a French defence on our hands here, and black has just castled.
Yeah, and then
Rook h3, h5.
h5 played.
h5 played.
f6 breaking the center.
Okay, well we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, and then we said h6.
Yes. Is
G6,
that what he did?
g6.
Wow, Williams is taking a risk allowing that pawn to come onto
Yeah,
h6.
and now bishop e3 offering the pawn sack.
Retaining the bishop for action against the king.
Yeah, and then f into e5.
Yes.
F into e5.
Yep.
Knight d into e5. In comes new piece knight d4. Knight a5, threatening knight c4. b3. Knight g4. And now bishop e2. And he's saying that if you play knight e3, queen e3, and then I'm going to occupy that premium square on e5.
So white has sacrificed a pawn.
Yeah, but he's going to get his, he's got a fantastic position. He's going to put the bishop on f3, and then there's going to be some kind of sack on e6. That knight on a5 is completely misplaced, by the way.
Black hasn't developed very much, it's true. He's got his knights lunging around the board, but not much else.
So the point here I'm making is that if he took on e3, and I'll take with the queen, and then if he played queen f6, I would like to play bishop to f3, which is kind of...
Hang on a minute, you're going a bit quickly here. Let's take this... what Black certainly doesn't want to take on e3 and allow you to dominate. So can he play e5? Can I just try and... I mean, Williams would be looking for attacking moves here. Can I get away with that?
The problem is bishop g5. It looks quite unpleasant.
Is that a problem?
It's definitely a problem.
Okay, queen to d6.
Okay, now I need to get a very good move. He's going to play knight f2. That's the thing, isn't it?
Well, anyway, it looks a lot better than just submitting to your attack. I've got to get my central pawns going somehow.
So e5, can I this time play knight to f3, straight away attacking that pawn again?
Now?
Yeah, no, not now.
Beforehand?
Beforehand.
Knight here. Well, I was going to go d4 then.
Yeah, and then bishop d5.
And then hope that queen d6 held out. Because, this is not to be underestimated, is it?
Yeah.
You can't just ignore it. That knight on a5 is preventing bishop c4, which is pretty useful in this position, I have to say. Because that could finish me off if it was played at the right moment. Is this so easy? Let's have a look at it from Black's side. Doesn't look that nice.
b5.
Of course, when you're opening up the position against a better developed opponent, this is always going to be horrendously risky. So, are we overlooking something? Bishop g5, I think, don't you? Keep the bishop. Queen d6, now we need a move. Some sort of bone-crushing move. Doesn't look especially bone-crushing, I have to say. Especially if Black just recaptures. What's the point of it? Yeah, but then don't forget Black's a pawn up. I'm not sure about that. I think he should go e5. Unless there's some tactical flaw which we've overlooked, which is always possible. Anybody see anything we've missed?
So is it bishop g5?
Yeah, queen d6.
Queen d6. And
Queen is useful there.
Yeah, and the queen is useful there, but now rook h4.
Rook h4. Well, cooking with gas, let's stick that in there. You might be talking gas. F1. I'm running out of pieces here. I was going to play knight e4 and pray that it all held together. Looks fishy, very fishy. But you haven't won yet.
So rook f8 check.
Yeah, rook f8 check. Now there's horrors looming in this position. I can see it. Some queen d5 check is going to absolutely fry me. But okay, do it.
And then I was thinking to play rook into e4.
Yes, okay, the cheapos are gushing out now. Come on.
Knight c6.
Okay, just a minute, just a minute. You're rubbing your hands in glee, but I don't know what for.
Blocking the queen d5 using the rook.
He's on my knight, that's the problem.
No, I know.
Okay, I'm gonna. The trouble is, bishop c4 check is gonna be.
Yeah.
Okay, I take it. Like, come on, I'll play the fool guy. Show me the mate. Show me the mate.
So queen d5 check.
Bishop c4 wins the queen. King in the corner. Yeah, but there's bound to be some.
No, queen d5 check. It's quite dangerous now. You're going king h8 and then queen at c6. I'm on the rook. I'm threatening bishop c4. I'm trying to.
Well, I can defend. Keep playing.
Queen takes c6.
Keep playing and keep praying. Well, not necessarily in that order.
Queen, yeah, queen c.
Yes, come on.
Queen d6 now. The jungle is coming at you, sir.
I don't like this position very much. At all.
Bishop d5.
Come on.
Yeah.
Sturdy defence.
Queen and d5.
You've got a bit of pressure. Got a bit of pressure, but I can hold on.
Queen d4.
Well, I can't move anything. That's the idea.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's the idea.
Well, I'm an exchange up at least when I have to resign.
You're going to be surprised by my next move if you played a5.
I am not sure that I want to see your next move.
Yeah, well, I'm going to show this as well.
All right, go on then, show it.
By king b1, threatening bc1, bb2. Death of the diagonals. He can't make a
A
move.
potted biography by V. Marikua. Yeah, okay, it's horrible. It's absolutely, the rook's useless against those bishops, isn't it? Just shows you the value of shoving that H pawn all the way up the board.
Yeah.
Right, what have we got there? He didn't do that,
No, he
did he?
didn't do that. He played knight into e3.
He just distrusted his position. It was too loose. So he played.
Queen d6.
Wait a minute, bishop e2. What did black play? Move 20.
Chopped off the bishop
Yeah.
and offered access to that e5 square. So you got to cover it with queen d6
Okay.
and then rook hf1.
Yep.
And he didn't play e5 because of some knight f3, and then you're going to get in trouble. Bishop d7, and in comes bishop g4, and I like white's position quite a bit here. How do you defend e5?
E6 a minute. Or what? E5.
e5.
Well, the first point to be made, E5 is awful now, isn't it? He just takes this, right?
Yeah,
And if he takes that, that would be pretty nasty, right?
yeah,
Well, it's more than nasty, it's
yeah. more than
terminal.
that, yeah.
So, if he can't play E5,
So he's got to play now rook into f1.
well, what stops him from moving this other one into the game here?
Yeah, rook a8,
Yeah, is there anything wrong with that?
and then rook into f8 check. And then you got to play.
Well, I've
king,
got to play king takes.
King takes f5.
You get your queen to f6, can you?
Queen g5.
Queen f3 and queen f6, is that
Yeah.
nasty?
Queen g5 is quite nasty.
Queen g5,
Yeah,
then
it's
I
got
have to go
E5.
queen e7,
Queen e7, queen e5.
queen e5,
Yeah, but
it's
you could-
getting horrible.
Yeah. What about e5?
When?
When I played queen g5.
Here.
Yeah. Bishop d7
Bishop
and then queen
D7.
f6 check,
Yeah.
and then queen h8 check. Hoover of e5 check. He's going to be horrible for it.
Once that queen comes in.
Yeah.
All right, let us go back. So the position is bishop g4. White's putting significant pressure on e6. But if you take on f1,
Yeah.
what is your next move?
Rook E8.
Well, then, I mean, why can't I go Queen G5?
Yeah, that's the thing here. You know, I mean,
This is pretty strong once the Queen gets in. So he has to play this,
Queen E5.
and then this. Well, okay. Show me the win. I'm sure you'll be pleased to. Taking the knight off from Rook F6 looks
Yeah,
possible.
take the knight off,
Yeah,
and then put rook on F6.
and then I've got to go back.
Yeah.
What, in this position? That's crushing. Okay, that's the idea. Well done. Yeah, that's it. So he did Bishop G4, one more move. He's actually played Rook A E8.
We don't have BCM magazines. Or chess openings of your choice. Any more BCM magazines from the editor? No, no, that's.
So is his idea that he wants to sacrifice the e-pawn? Is that it? If he goes Rook takes F8, which looks like the normal move,
Yeah.
is he going to sacrifice this pawn?
Yeah, rook F8 and then knight E6. That's the problem. See, again, I'm angling on different directions with.
It's this pawn on H6 I really don't dislike.
Yeah.
And he played Rook takes F8.
Yeah, he played rook takes F8. Okay, Queen F8. What's the problem with Queen F8?
Queen F8.
Is it knight E6 or Bishop E6 check, or you can't do neither of them?
I can't play knight E6.
No.
Why not?
Bishop E6. Oh, yeah.
I think I can play that move. Can't
Sorry, but every move. So rook F8 check play, and rook A8 played.
I mean, obviously I'm going into pins. You know,
what about King F8?
Walking straight into 2 pins.
Yeah.
But can we just satisfy ourselves this is lost or bad?
What
Black
if I
got a
play-
resource like
yeah.
Queen F6. What about that? I'm threatening some sort of action down there. Maybe it's nothing, but I'm in 2 pins. You know, White's in 2 pins.
Queen B6.
Really? What's that? That's
No.
drifting a bit offside. I think that's what he intends, isn't it?
So he's taken to the queen now.
Yeah, and I think that's his intention. Queen F6.
Yeah, he's taken to the queen, as we predicted. And now he's threatening E5. That's the main problem. Well, what I can
No,
do...
Queen E5, Queen H6 check.
Yeah.
But what you can play with White here is Queen G5. I like that move.
E5.
Echo of what you were saying.
E5.
No, E5 you lose. It's the second time you've made that mistake in the past 2 or 3 minutes.
Can I... So Queen F8, another... yeah, Queen G5 is quite strong now.
Now, should Black get his knight back from the dead? Knight C6. It's doing nothing over there. I'm kind of like 1 move away from disaster here with Black. Can I survive this takes Rook E1? Can I survive this?
This one?
Yeah, Rook E3 is coming round. I don't know. Rook E1, yeah. What about that? Black's in a terrible bind, isn't it?
Bishop D7.
Yeah, now I just wanted to move my king, like you said. Take away some cheapos. So maybe Rook E3, what about that?
What are you doing with rook?
Go there. Followed by Queen E5. I want to displace the Queen so I can move it to a dark square. So I think the only reason Black's in this game, he's got an eye on this pawn. You're stuck for moves here, aren't you? Queen D6, Queen F6, Queen
So
E7.
Queen G5. No.
You might be able to survive that, yeah. Well,
So for knight C6, and you took on C6. can I play for now Queen G5? Can I play Knight C6? And then you take.
Well, do I have to take? That's the next thing.
You would like to put the king on B1, don't you?
Well, White's got obvious compensation, hasn't he? But he's still got to find a way through. So let's leave that here. This is what we have. And Jackson's thinking. Gormali M's. Right, so White was working with small amounts here. Queen B2 was the last move. And what
Queen
did Black
B2,
play?
Queen B7.
Right, so let's delete the remaining moves. Queen B7. So Black wants to get his knight back from the dead. At least that move protects the knight.
Yeah, Knight C3.
Okay.
Knight C7, releasing that knight.
So he's, in order to get that knight back from the dead, he's had to give up his light square bishop.
Yeah, and then now Gormali played Rook C1.
Yeah.
B5. Knight into D5.
Yes.
Knight C into D5.
Yeah.
Knight D4, unleashing this long diagonal bishop. A6, revealing everything. And now Knight B3, saying that I might go to C5 or A5. And now Rook into C1. Queen into C1.
Is that played or?
I think
No, this
it's
is the
out.
position.
Yeah, you have to play Queen C1 here. You don't want to. So has he got any moves to save himself now that he's worked up?
Well, the thing is, after Queen C1, I can go knight takes F4, can't I?
Well, if I need to stop it, I can play knight into C1.
Yeah, but you don't really want to. So Queen takes C1. Let's have a look. Now, Black can obviously play knight takes F4, but this endgame, what if I as long as that knight blocks out the bishop, what is he doing here? What if I just play? Okay, show me what you're doing after H6.
Okay.
Knight A5.
Yeah. Bishop E2 first, or Bishop
Save the
E5.
bishop.
Sorry, Bishop E5.
Bishop E5.
Yeah,
Okay,
put my
so
bishop on a powerful square.
okay.
So I think for Queen C1, you got to go knight F4.
So you're sort of probing me there, and he did play Queen C1. So, all right, it makes sense to be able to take that bishop off. Let's take it off.
Yeah, and then he's going to play Bishop B7.
No, he'll take. I would have thought he would take on F4 with the Queen.
Well, Bishop B7, Knight E2 check, King F1, Knight C1, Knight C1. You lost those pawns. You got A5.
Takes. Yeah, but I've gained a pawn down here.
Yeah. And then you
Takes,
got
takes,
A5.
A5. What's this? Ah, takes, and then A6. How are you going to stop the pawn? Bishop C5. Okay, so it's hanging by a
No,
thread.
no, take on A5.
Yeah.
Sorry, A5. Take on A5.
Takes.
Knight B3. Don't let the bishop get into that diagonal.
Well, I would have
Well,
thought
A6, Bishop B8, Knight D4. It all looks quite
nasty.
nasty.
So takes here. Takes, king, takes, takes. Now I've got to find a good move. One senses there should be one here.
There's none.
You sound very, very.
I mean, this looks like if you allow me. To
I'm a pawn up, right? I'm a pawn
You're a
up.
pawn
So
up.
okay, let me move my knight into the game. Why'd you say there's none? I think there is.
Sorry,
some.
take on A6.
In.
Okay, and then now.
I'm going to attack your pawn from B1. Knight B1. I've arrived. Just draw.
Knight D3.
Bag.
Bishop into B5.
Yeah, well, okay.
Bishop A4. I can't. Bishop A6.
Wow, this is a draw, right?
Well, Bishop A6. How are we going to advance? Stop my pawns. I've kind of trapped your.
You haven't trapped anything.
King E2.
Knight C2 is quite effective because it's going to be all
B5. Let's move the king across. Come on.
King D2.
Am I trapping my knight? I might have trapped my knight here.
You need to play knight C2, or the king is too close.
If you say so.
Knight C2.
Yeah, you mean.
Knight C2 B5. Knight B4. Yeah, knight takes, bishop takes B6 and B7.
That's a draw.
Nothing, it's a draw.
All right. Okay. So queen takes C1. M's played queen to D7. He wasn't getting involved in his speculation. But you think White was getting on top here slightly after bishop D2, wouldn't you?
No, bishop B5.
Or bishop E5. Retain the bishop.
On the long diagonal. Oh, he's threatening knight G4 now.
Is that a threat?
Yeah, knight G4, just bishop B2, bishop F6. Is that maybe he's thinking of that?
Ah, yeah. But then that bears C5, of course.
Yeah, knight C5. You might have an edge.
Slight edge.
So it's all, it's, he must have seen that end game and he must have
Rejected it.
something, and something very, very, difficult if he lost pawn on A6 on the B5. And maybe now the bishop on E5 is not the right square. Maybe I should just pull it to D2. Straight away, I got this access to outpost on C5 with my knight, and I got this bishop on G2. So I got to play this very slowly.
Right, the game continues. 23 queen D7 has been played. So we move on to Howell versus Arkle.
Yeah. While we are doing that, he's got 13 minutes to solve all these problems for another 17 moves.
Right, well, this seems a good moment to introduce the competitions for this afternoon. And we've got two competitions, one for the online viewers, one for the people in the audience here. And the online question is pretty easy, I think, but we'll see. When you think you have the answer, you have to go to the English Chess Federation forum and give your answer on the thread you can find there. The first person to comment on the thread correctly will win a Ginger GM DVD. Okay, the question for this afternoon, probably the online audience will know, don't say anything, is who was the youngest ever British chess champion? Who was the youngest ever chess champion? And the question for the online audience, much more difficult. Get ready, don your hard hats. Who was the strongest player ever to win the major open tournament? Anyway, we will go with the answer which Stuart Rubin has given me. We'll blame him if he's wrong. So that's it. And you can have your pick of the books on the stall if you can answer that question. Who was the strongest player ever to win the major open tournament? Consulting smartphones is frowned upon, but may be necessary. Right, so I'll leave that with you, and anybody who wants to give the answer at a certain point, once they've gone and checked on the computer outside, will be able to do it. So the question remains open. Who was the strongest player ever to win the major open? And it's quite difficult, I think. So, can you give me some moves, Ravi, in Arkle versus Howell?
Okay.
Oh, sorry? Where's that voice coming from? You may. Who? Who? I didn't get the name.
Anand.
Anand. When did Anand play in the major open? Was he 2 years old at the time? That's true. No, the answer's incorrect, sir. I never recall Anand playing in the major open. He played in the British in Blackpool in 1988, I think. Yeah, but never in the major open. No, incorrect. Right, 18 bishop e2. But you were brave to have a go. Very bold. Very bold.
Bishop D6.
Good try. Bishop d6. So he didn't play bishop c5 for reasons best known to himself.
Yeah, and then H4.
H4.
King E7.
Because black was threatening bishop f4 check.
And then King C2.
King e7, we expected that. We kind of expected that.
Yeah, and now the Chelsea cheapo knight to F7, so you've got to move the bishop.
And so that threatens knight takes f7, quite correct.
So bishop F4, knight H3.
Hang on, bishop f4. White wants to retain the knight.
Bishop C7.
Yep.
H5.
Yep.
Bishop Rook H8.
So is White trying to mount pressure against G7?
Yep.
But it's not going to be easy, is it? Okay.
So knight g5,
Yes.
bishop f4,
Yes.
knight h3,
Yes.
bishop c7,
Oh.
knight g5,
The crowd go wild.
bishop f4,
The crowd go wild
rook
again.
d to g1, and
He's playing on.
Howell just repeated the moves, just to gain some time, He's now down to 10 minutes, So that's like a time gaining thing that, a lot of good players can, repeat a couple of times, get a bit more time,
The thing is that
like, you're going to force a draw or something and then play your actual move.
the game is still very, very hard, isn't it?
So bishop into g5,
He took it.
yeah, rook into g5.
Well, okay, so why does he have to take that?
Well,
Because it seems like his dark square bishop's a big piece.
yeah, but he was going to be like...
What's White's plan?
So White was planning something like knight to h3, attacking the bishop under g7. And if you had to go bishop h6, then that's...
Well, that doesn't seem that bad. I think White's plan is probably something very long-winded, like advance the queenside pawns to b4 and a3, then put his bishop on d3 and play the knight round to e4.
Yeah.
Okay, so he took it off, fair enough.
And then rook takes g5.
Yeah.
And then g6.
G6, okay.
And now king d3. Howell is trying to win this one now, isn't it?
King d3.
Yeah, and then like a king
Up he
mark.
comes.
And then if you play king d4.
Where's he going? That's the question.
Well, he's trying to...
No, nothing so timid as that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Somebody wants to know why you take g6 straight away. Yes, you did. Instead of taking on g5, why didn't you just play g6 straight away? So when you take the bishop on g5, you could have
Why don't you ask him after the game?
Right.
Oh,
That's
chicken
chicken.
out.
That's chicken.
What do you mean, chickening
Okay.
out?
Are you not supposed to?
Right, okay, g6,
I can
knight
say what I
h3.
like.
No, g6, knight h3. Right.
G6 straight away. Well, I might
Yeah, knight h3.
go to San Francisco here. Let's put the boot in. Come on. Does that work? Probably doesn't work. Give it a go.
No, knight h3 was good enough.
We go to knight h3. Come on then. Yes, and now?
Yes, sir.
No, because the point is you can't take it straight away because it takes on that. If you take it at the back, then the knight hangs right.
So
Did,
what?
did
so
you
I
see
think-
that move before asking your question?
No.
Ah, okay.
So h into g6 is the threat, which is not the structure black wants.
Does that answer satisfy you?
Yeah.
Good, I'm pleased. All right then. Bishop takes g5, rook takes g5, g6, king d3. Besides, we were missed out on this king march.
King d3, time's on the clock. Okay, Howell has 10 minutes left and Keith has 27 minutes. But he's thinking, my first question would be, where is this king going? Is he going to go somewhere like d4 and try to nudge in? White has to put one bishop on f3 and then he's ready to play h into g6.
Well then, in that case, why did he not do it here?
Well, he wants to...
Well, what was the objection to just doing it here?
Knight e5. Oh, no, there's no
you
knight.
can't play 95. And White's getting ready for pawn takes pawn, you see?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I get that. Maybe his idea is that Black's going to take the pawn, something like that?
Yeah.
But then, even there, I can take it, can't I? Is there something wrong with this I'm not seeing? Is it knight e4 or something
Knight
like that?
e4 now, and then, that's why he played king.
So that's why he played king d3, planning bishop f3. That is the move, isn't it? That is the move. So we're trying to figure out why king d3. So his plan is bishop f3, and then we've got to resolve the problem of h5. So that's why Keith's thinking, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why he's thinking. He's thinking, that rook on g5 is controlling all the entry points for the knight. Like, you can't get knight c5, you can't get knight e5. So it's controlling all those...
Let me try and do something. I'm going to go b6.
Yeah.
I suppose you just go b4 then, don't you?
No, just go king d4.
King d4? No, they wanted to go check then. Bishop f3 check.
King e3.
It's a great square for the king, isn't it? You're now threatening pawn takes pawn, aren't you?
Yep.
and I can't create any action here. I've got to take it now.
I'll take c6 and then I'll say thank you very much. You can't weaken.
Is that absolutely certain?
Well,
I don't know. It's not going to be that clear, is it?
so king d3.
White's got some loose pawns to look after. So king d3, as Ravi says quite correctly, White is playing for the win, and he's maybe having to take a slight risk in order to do it. But certainly White's plan, bishop f3, resolving the question of the pawn on h5 is what he's up to. And then in that sequence where black took, white recaptured, there's no knight coming to e4. So that is probably his plan.
So we have a few more moves in.
Okay, Pert versus Hawkins, yeah.
Yeah, we felt after bishop c4 he had something. Hawkins played rook f to d8.
Okay.
And now queen to d3. Queen to d6.
Queen to d3, any tricks, nothing just yet. Queen d6
Yeah, and now
controlling your
he,
squares.
I think he just want to put the bishop onto b3. That's the main thing.
Did he do that?
Yeah, bishop to b3, queen to b6, and now bishop to c3, allowing that that knight to c3 is not going to be good for black. So he plays rook c6.
Yeah, but that bishop is not the greatest piece in the world, is it?
And queen to f3 now with visions of rook into e6.
So rook c d6.
Queen b5 protecting the knight.
Okay.
Rook d2 and still offering knight into c3. a5 to threaten a4, and then now rook d to e2, and now a4 finally, and now bishop into d5.
Right, so bishop takes d5, is that absolutely forced?
Well, you got to take back with the queen now.
Yes.
And then you're going to hoover the queen off.
Take the queen off, that's going to lead to a very dull position, isn't it?
Yeah, but queen d5 has been played and he's now thinking, you know what I mean. So,
But this is nothing, is it? Is it? We've missed something here?
yeah, he can play rook e6 and then he wins this pawn, but yeah, rook into e6 is the threat now.
Well, then I see rook e6, is it?
Yeah, queen f3,
Queen f3.
gf3.
Wow, but this is nothing.
Yeah, bishop into d4 is rook e8 check, that's a
Well, I'll
trap.
take this.
So rook e6, rook e6,
Take this.
bishop d4. And
Black
then-
starts playing for the win. No, he doesn't. Takes on rook b6.
Yeah. Maybe this is what he's seen and he's still thinking.
So we can take this and go rook b6, can't we?
Yeah. Rook d7 forced move and then
Rook
we can play.
b4.
Yeah, I don't want to allow a3, so I might play a3 there.
Well, anyway, White's clearly better, isn't he?
Yeah, slightly better than anything. So he's still thinking whether to play queen into d5 and force e into d5, and then you have this control of this open file, or is he have to play? Oh, I see the point now. Queen into d5 instead of all this rook into d6. Can we go?
Wait a minute, what's the position? Let's get this position up. It doesn't automatically promote the move. So queen d6, 23 bishop b3, queen b6, bishop c3, rook c6.
Yeah.
Let's promote this variation first of all. Make it clear. Yeah.
And
Queen
then
f3, queen b5, rook d2, a5, rook d2, a4.
Yeah. And then
Bishop
now
takes d5, queen takes his thinking.
Yeah. Can I play queen into d5 now? I might win a pawn out now.
You want to do this?
Yeah. You take with rook e6.
I think rook takes.
Rook into e6. Bishop into d4. And then he has something like rook d1. No, he's got rook e8 check, another rook check, and then he can.
I'll tell you what I think maybe the best move here, and that's this.
Yeah. Well, then you are a pawn down, aren't
Yeah,
you?
but what do you play?
So rook into c6.
Yeah, take this. Don't forget, I can take this because you can't pin me because the bishop f2 check. So, what are you going to do? King f1?
King f1.
Yeah, and then I think I wanted to play this.
Can't I play b3?
Then c5, of course. That was the idea. Whether you take it or not. I think black's well in the game here. I might get my rook round the back to it.
Yeah. So
I don't know. What have we got? We've got queen takes d5. So this is a big critical position. What are the clocks like?
14 minutes for Nick and 16 minutes for Hawkins. So he's played queen into d5 now, e into d5.
I took the pawn.
Yeah.
Okay, as Stuart recommended.
Yeah. And now rook e8 check.
So he's threatening maybe a3, yes?
Yeah, rook e8 check.
Rook e8 check, he's going to go king f7, isn't he? Oh, then you can take and go rook d5. So let's see. So rook e8 check.
Yeah.
I take it.
Yeah.
You take back.
Yeah.
King f7. Rook
And then now
a8.
rook a8 is my move. Yeah.
Rook a8 maybe your move, but
Rook c4, you have bishop.
rook c4.
Yeah.
Rook a7, I just take here.
Rook b7 check first.
Where are we going to put this king? Am I going to put it there? Why not? Well, isn't this slight advantage to black? But probably a draw. I mean, I've got a passed pawn. I don't know. White's certainly not going to win it.
Sorry, instead of that, can I just do...
Well, black's playing king f7, isn't he? So that you've got the crummiest bishop ever seen. So what are you going to do about it?
So hang on a minute, I have a different approach now. Rook e8 check.
All right, off.
And then now king f7, rook b8.
Rook b8.
I'm not bothered about... you got bishop d4 cheapo.
Well, clearly a3.
a3, rook into b7 check.
Then move the king.
Well, you're not threatening anything. Can I just play like...
I am threatening something.
What are you threatening?
Just some positional idea, like takes rook c4. In fact, I don't think. Yeah, I'm threatening bishop takes pawn check, but I didn't want to tell him that.
Pardon? G3 now?
G3, I was hoping he'd fall for that, but he didn't. All right, so let's take it off.
Bishop into b2.
Well, what's happening here?
Yeah, you got to play rook a3.
Yeah, but then something like this.
Rook b4.
Okay, you were lucky. Right. Okay, then let's try that.
Yeah. Well,
Quickly back on my feet after that knockout blow.
Well, I can now play rook b6 now. You know.
But marching on to victory. Come on.
Well, now that you've done it, king g2. Are you going to threaten the check? King h5 up. So bishop c1 check to see whether you go to king h5. Where is he going with the king?
Nowhere.
So okay.
Cabin fever yet again strikes the commentary team.
So you
We've
know,
been in this room far too long.
Yeah, he didn't do any of this stuff. You know, I mean, like.
He didn't do any of it.
Yeah, he just played a3.
That comes as no surprise to me whatsoever.
Yeah, a3.
So let's go back.
Isn't black has a better endgame now with king f7?
So what did he do?
He played a3.
A3?
Yeah.
He's making his bishop even worse.
Yeah, and then now king f7.
Overgrown pawn.
Yeah, and then Hawkins has some edge, isn't it?
What's White's playing some very strange moves.
Yeah, king f7.
King f7 for sure. I mean, then what do
I
I do?
think
How
he's
do
in
I
trouble
win
now.
this?
I think he's in trouble. Because my next move is rook c4.
Yeah, this guy can come into the game quite easily, can't he? It's not Dean
Yeah, but where is he going to stick his...
Don't go on with this comment.
where is he going to put his rooks now, you know?
I don't know.
If he gets into a defensive huddle, what I'm thinking is one rook on c4, the other rook on b3, and some kind of tactic on a3, you know, where it's difficult for him to, his bishop to be on c3. That's what I'm thinking. So,
Well, I mean, you can see that White isn't better at all, is he? You know, that bishop. Why is he going for this?
yeah,
It's a mystery variation.
Okay, if you brought your king back, If you
What's your next move?
Yeah, I'm playing King F1 now.
All right, King F1. Okay, so now do we play Rook C4?
Rook C4.
All right,
Rook
let's
E1.
do it.
Yeah, it's different.
Okay, then I'll bring this guy up, shall I?
Rook D6, and then you want to bring it up to B6 and B3.
I think I will exchange off this rook. Leave you with passive pieces.
Chop off and King E2.
Yeah, maybe that's a draw.
No,
But where are you going to use this?
No, I'm going to put Rook D6.
All right.
That was my plan, sorry.
With what idea?
My rook is getting to B3.
Right.
And then Bishop E7. And then I'm going to...
Well, as soon as you move that bishop, he's probably going to come into E5.
Yeah, but first he's got to make a move, isn't it, now?
Well, hopefully I'll bring my king to the centre, can I?
Yeah, King E1 you've got to play. And then Rook B6.
What if I try to move my rook first?
So he's played King F7. And,
King F7.
And White has played King F1. And I think now it should continue with Rook C4.
Extremely odd play by Nick Pert.
Yeah.
Gone into this passive position, really.
So can we run a few moves to see, you know, the plan that I have is one rook on C4.
All right.
Another rook on B3. Let's play a few moves. Are you going to play rook D2 now?
Well, I was thinking of going rook E6, sacrifice the pawn, going rook to B6, but does that work? Well, it's really horribly defensive now suddenly for White. What did he do wrong? He's just got into this position and he's slightly worse.
Yeah, he's put the rook on C4 now. Hawkins has put the rook on C4.
So that's the position in the game currently. So let's go back to other games and we'll come back to this because this got some way to go. In fact, in some ways, the game's just beginning. Jackson Williams. This one was warming up, wasn't it? Now.
So
last move, Queen takes F8, move 24.
Queen takes F8, and now Queen E5.
Right, so sacrificing a pawn on H6 with check.
Check, King B1.
So that's in itself a very original decision.
Yeah.
So he's not only threatening to come on the king side, he's threatening Queen C7, picking off that knight, isn't he? That's the point of this move.
Yeah, that's what happened now, and then now King B1.
So he takes the pawn with check, King B1, retaining threats.
Yeah, now Knight B7 only move.
Knight B7 only move.
Yeah, and then in comes Queen C7.
Ooh.
And then you go Bishop C8 only move.
Ooh. Going backwards here.
And then Bishop into E6.
Yes.
Bishop into E6.
Okay.
Knight into E6.
Yes.
Rook into E6. Queen C8 check.
Yes.
King F7.
So that he takes the knight. Sorry?
Knight D8. Knight D8.
Knight D8, yes.
Queen into D8 check.
Alright, so if he goes King F7, what happens? Show me the win.
D7 check and then Queen into D5.
Queen here check and the white initiative continues. So he plays
Knight D8.
Knight D8, but I'm going to get the pawn anyway. So Queen takes check.
Queen F8.
Queen F8.
And now Queen into D5.
Yes.
Ooh, and he played Queen E7. And White's thinking now how to do anything in this position. Okay. So Black gets out of the pin.
Well, it's my job to ensure you don't get out of the pin. So let me try Rook E1.
Yeah, King F7.
Then G4. I suppose can you play Queen D6 against that?
Yeah, Queen B7 check.
Well,
So Rook E1, King F7, G4. Queen D6 is Queen B7 check. King F6, then Rook F1 check. There's some trouble there.
What are you suggesting, sorry?
So I'm suggesting G4.
I can win a pawn. Rook takes Rook 5. And Queen B7, that picks
No,
up the
but
pawn.
G4 is much more powerful.
This picks up the pawn.
Yeah, but we don't want to go into that endgame, do you? Why don't you?
Well, I'm just saying that's the default option, isn't it? I can play that.
Yeah, well, you can play that in the next move. You know, you play G4 as you suggested, and he can't untangle himself.
G4. He can't untangle himself. Queen D6.
Queen D6, Queen B7 check.
Well, this is slightly worse for you because I was getting that pawn last time. Now you're getting that one. I don't believe it.
How are you getting? How are you getting?
What are you doing? Rook F1, King G7.
And then
I think it's much better for white to get this pawn than it is to get that pawn because I've got some drawing with the queen. I think the absolute worst you can go for is
you can't get the B4 pawn in the line of play because of Queen E7.
in which position? Here. Okay, king here, then queen to the back rank.
Yeah.
Where? C8.
Yeah.
Okay, can I try this? Okay, we're going to have a stare at this position because clearly, and black's got to play here. So, has white got anything decisive? I mean, you could just make a move, couldn't you, and leave him struggling. What about rook e4, for instance?
King f6.
Yeah, but that's obviously, you know, that's desire. Then I'll win a pawn with queen there. It's kind of, I want that pawn, don't I?
Yeah.
And Jackson's thinking, what is he mulling over here? Is there some better move?
I played rook e1.
And he must play king f7.
King f7 played.
Yep. Now a rook move would be quite nice.
Yeah, and now queen f3 check. Where does he go? He goes king e8. Okay, that sounds unusual.
I think it's more likely he's going to play a move like that. With the point off? Queen here. Okay, goes a5. You can come in there.
He's played rook e4.
Play rook e4, okay.
And king f6 is what's he going to do for king f6? Oh, he's picking up the pawn with queen d4 check and rook e6 and queen b4. So a5, then rook e6 and queen a5. Is that a draw then? Yeah, queen e1 and queen c3 draw is there. So a5, and then
a5?
Yeah, then a4.
You can do. Okay, what is black? What's black's plan? Queen d6. Is that right?
Can you control the black squares like before?
Okay, so I play a3. Black's stuck to move, isn't it? Just to improve my chances. Eventually I want to get to a king and pawn ending where I've got this protected passed pawn, hopefully.
It's quite interesting here, rookie. For 6 more moves, time control.
Certainly puts the pressure right on Williams to find a move, doesn't it?
So he's got 9 minutes to find the remaining 6 moves, and I think that queen endgame is possibly on the cards.
Doesn't think much of
h5.
Pin h5.
So that's why the g4 was very
And quite surprising that white can't make anything of this pin. You'd think he'd be able to win a pawn, wouldn't you?
But
maybe not.
He's still thinking. We have a few more moves in Back to Hawkins.
Right, so rook e4, that is the position. Okay, back to Hawkins, where...
Rook c4.
Yes.
Rook d1, passive huddle.
Yes.
Rook d to c8 with visions of getting the rook to c6. Rook e3, even more passive huddle. But not you know, earlier you could have played, but then you need to, yeah. I think that black can play g6, but I think even this position he can play g6 and then bishop e7. But I think I want to get my rook to b3. That's my plan.
I quite like my bishop on d6 at some point. I don't know, it's not going to be that easy, is it? If the game continues, this is going to go on a long time, isn't it? I quite like your move g6, having said that. I quite like h5 as well in this position. Just restraining white and saying, what are your moves? I suppose you're going to play his king to e2.
So...
rook on e3 is a little bit short of squares. So white's got some problems there. He actually played... Did he play a move? No. So back to Howell versus Arkle.
Oh, he played g5.
What, in Hawkins?
Yeah, g5.
G5?
And he's threatening some f4 and, you know, putting his king on f5 and, you know, he's got visions of that.
Okay, back we go.
So I think white has to suffer quite a bit before, you know, anything comes out of that. And
Gali M's.
Gali M's
23. What was the move? 23.
Queen
d7.
Queen c1. Queen d7.
Yep.
Bishop d2.
Retaining the bishop.
h6.
Yep.
h3.
Yep.
Bishop d8.
Okay.
Knight c5.
Yes.
Queen c8. Knight d3.
Knight d3.
Yeah. Queen into c1.
Yep.
Knight into c1. King f8. Knight d3 back.
Right, he's aiming for c5.
Knight d7.
Yes.
And now knight f4. Knight b6.
Which one?
d7 to b6.
Yep.
Knight into d5, knight into d5. King f1. And he's going to treat this with the bishop pair. A long road ahead here.
With a draw at the end.
No. You see, my plan is to put my king on d3, and I definitely want to play e4 to kick the knight out. So
Okay. I've heard all that stuff.
King
Right.
f1,
Bishop f6.
King f1, bishop f6.
Yes.
Bishop c1, king e7.
This is the game?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
King
Okay.
e1.
The way you were talking, as if white was striding majestically to victory.
King e1, bishop c3 check. King d1.
Hang on. Bishop c1. What happened next?
He played king e7.
Yeah.
King e1.
It's got to be a draw.
Bishop c3 check.
Yeah.
King d1.
Yeah.
a5.
Yeah.
And he's thinking now, could he play pawn into a5, bishop into a5, king c2? Is that anything?
No.
Why not?
Why not? Because what are you hoping for?
I'm hoping that king b3, and I want to reroute my bishop to d3.
Oh, right. King d6.
Yeah, king. No, bishop e1.
Actually, what about that move? Yeah, what about it? Good idea. Very good idea. Give the man a book. What is St. Louis 2005? Worth its weight in gold. Give it to the man there. Would you like it?
It's quite famous, you know. We've been trying to give away that exact book.
All right. Give him one of the. Give him the book he prefer. Which one do you want? White or black gambits?
White gambits.
We're trying to give you a book which didn't involve gambits. Yeah, bishop e1. So he won't play king c2. So e4.
e4 knight
b6.
b6.
Knight c4. King d7.
Bishop f1.
You're having fun.
Bishop a7. Oh, you're losing a3. Sorry.
Oh. I'm going to win E1.
So A5.
I'm going to win F2.
Yeah.
Anyway, that won't happen.
Okay, A5.
That's a solemn promise.
Sorry.
So
A5,
let's go back to A5.
I take on A5.
Yeah. We've been here before.
Bishop into A5.
Yes.
And then I play E4.
E4. Okay, knight B6.
Okay, King, Bishop F1 now.
Knight C4.
King C2.
We're going to play A4.
Yeah,
A4 is the move, right?
Yeah. So E4, you know, he played pawn takes A5, bishop takes A5.
Yeah.
I expect E4 there. And then, you know,
there's a check, I suppose.
King C2. You don't want to do that. Then knight E2 or something like that. But you know, and he's played another nice move here. He's just played E3. Now he's simply threatening bishop F1. And how is black going to play?
Okay, I'll move my king up. I don't believe it was propaganda. What's going on? Let's move the king.
Yeah, King C2 now.
Right.
Okay. Bishop E1. Sorry, that doesn't work. We can't give a gentleman another book. Okay, so E3 played, and I think King D6, Bishop F1. Bishop F1.
King D6, Bishop F1. I was going to go King C6.
Yeah, and then Bishop to D3.
Why not bishop to B2? Coming on the trying to create that 6 and get B4.
Okay, you can play on.
Yeah,
But it's got to be a draw. I don't believe this has got draw written all over it. I don't believe it's that difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be a very long game because, you know...
Because how do you attack this pawn?
Yeah,
It's not that easy to attack it a second time, is it?
The main problem is after 3 more moves, time control is over. And then, you know, it's going to be a very long game.
Or it could be a handshake. I just think this should be fairly defensible for black. I don't think there are too many difficulties. The symmetrical pawn structure is the clue.
Yeah. Simon Williams.
All right, okay.
Queen D6 play.
Oh, wait a minute. Simon Williams. Right. Rook E4 was the last move. Queen to D6.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well, of course, we can win the pawn straight away, can't we? With Queen B7 check. Is that right?
Queen
And then he goes
B7
Queen
check.
E7. We take the Queen. That wins a pawn, right? But then he gets down to E2.
Yeah.
White needs to keep the queens on. White needs to keep the queens on here.
So Queen B7 check, what are you doing?
Then he has to go Queen E7. doesn't he?
Then Rook F4 check. King G7.
Okay, say I this is probably not going to work. Say I take the queens
Rook takes.
and then take this. How bad is this for he goes in, yes? I don't know. It should be better for white, yes, of course. But you know, obviously black's active.
He has taken D6 and he's going to chop off B4. And then it's going to be some kind of a race between the white king and the 3 pawns on the queen side, and 2 against 1 majority on the king side, where the black king seems to be much more, you know, available. And then once he's taken rook b4, h5 has been played. The point of this move is that you can't play g4, h4. So how do you defend this, you know? So he's played king c1 now, avoiding...
Well, okay, yeah, king c1 stops the rook from coming in.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting ready to push my pawn, aren't I?
Yeah, but
your pawns are not that.
yeah,
great.
what if I play g5 now?
G5, okay.
This is quite risky, isn't it?
No,
My
it's
king
not
is
risky,
coming
is it? It's not risky.
My king is coming up. My king is coming up.
Well, let's get my own boys rolling. Come on.
c4, king, c4, yeah, king g6,
Get them going.
rook c6, king f5, king f5.
Oh, rook b6 wins. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So he can't actually do that. Well, in which case, this is okay.
So I don't think.
How do you get king and pawn ending? This is the position. This is the position. This is the position. Well, has he got to play g5?
Well, he's got to get king e6, and then you got c4.
He's got to play. He's got to get those pawns.
He's played g5 now.
Yeah. Okay, let's go c4.
c4.
Rook d4.
Then rook.
He's coming over there. So is that check the best answer?
Rook b6, rook g4.
That's definitely the best move. Rook d4.
So
that's the position of the game.
So Andy, for g5, can I play g3 and then just restrict that? I'm always waiting for this rook.
Yeah, we'll give that a try. Let's try a4.
Yeah, he's played rook e4 now.
Rook e4.
Yeah, and now what he says is now when I play c4, my rook is still going to guard all the squares. So
Well, Simon's going to play king f6, isn't he, for sure?
Yeah. But I think a4 wasn't.
And he's going to put his rook on e2, isn't he?
Yeah.
So should he play c4 here, perhaps?
Yeah.
I mean, king f6, okay, c4? Is it c4? Maybe a4. Maybe this was an interesting move, a5 and then rook b6. But he played rook e4. King f6 for sure, yes?
Yeah.
Now, what is White's next move?
He's still thinking.
Is it c4?
Right.
Okay, c4, king f5, rook e2. Maybe, I'm not sure about that move. But I think this is...
We got 3 more moves in the other games, maybe we can update it.
Right, well let's get the position on the board. What's the position on the board? Rook e4, that's the position on the board. Okay. Right.
Rook e4, there's one more move, sorry, h4.
Rook e4, he didn't play king f6, he played h4. Okay, alright. So, that's it. Alright, so, Hawkins,
He played
g5 is the last move.
g5, g3,
g3.
rook.
Another pawn on a black square.
Yeah, rook c8 to c6, king e2, and now bishop g7, showing that the rook may swing to h6. And so, White has got some issues here, isn't it? He's not going to, escape quite that easily. There's a lot of play left, of course, but I think now Black has some advantage to go. And now one of the main threats is going to be rook h6 and rook h3. And, there's different possibilities. He's playing on both flanks.
It's very uncomfortable for White. This is.
Yeah, and he's down to 3 minutes, and he still has to find 5 more moves. But that's where But this is a position that it's quite possible. The next set of moves are the most difficult ones.
This is not a nice position for White at all. Why did he go into this? It's just this lousy bishop.
Gomali hems.
All right, so Black is on top. Could go a long way into the evening that game. Okay, so Gomali M's another game which could go a long way, but then again it might not.
Yeah.
So Black is looking to get that pawn off the board, right? He's looking to play b4, get the pawn off the board, and that's shaking hands.
So after
e3,
king d6,
yep,
g4.
Okay, well, what does that mean?
And now b4.
There we go.
A takes b4.
Right, so after bishop d2, he just takes it. A very cute idea. And the pawn waltzes home. So that, get the feeling once that pawn's liquidated, there's nothing left, is there? So go on, keep going.
So he played AB4, bishop B4,
Oh,
and now king E2, and then this is this is move 40.
Drawn
King
as drawn
E7,
can be.
draw written on the cards.
I would have thought a draw now, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Howell.
Unless one of them's going to be bloody minded. There's not a lot to play for here. Centralised knight offsets the bishop. Pawns all on one side. Again, the knight tends to overpower the bishop. No weaknesses whatsoever to play with. Got to be a draw. On we go with Howell versus Arkle. What's happening here?
We were on move number
23, king to d3.
there's quite a few moves here. So 23,
28, king d3.
G takes h5.
Okay.
Bishop takes h5.
Yeah.
Rook d8.
All right.
Bishop e2.
Braving all discovered checks.
c5.
Yeah. Pawn to c5.
Yeah. Well, c5 is fixing the pawn. That's the main thing.
Fixing a pawn on a white square. Well, White's still got to train his sights on weaknesses. Black hasn't got any weaknesses, has he? But on the other hand, doing nothing is not very pleasant.
So there's king e3.
King e3.
b6.
Yeah.
f4.
Yeah.
Knight b8. Bishop f3. Knight a6. And now a3, restricting the knight. Knight c7. And now rook d1, offering exchange of rooks. Rook h8. Rook h1, repeating and gaining some on time. Rook d8, and now finally putting the bishop back to e2.
And one more move, a5.
Yeah.
Well, he's still got to break that blockade. Doesn't look that easy.
Okay. This result in John Ems and Gomali agreed for a draw.
No surprises there.
So
What do you think, Ravi? What do you think? This is looking a bit drawish, isn't it? This game.
Yeah.
Can he? He can't really get to f7, can he?
No.
What does White need to do? He needs to weaken Black's structure somehow.
So there's just a few more moves and draw agreed there. In Gomali against Ems.
All right, let's finish it off. What were the remaining moves?
So he played
King e7,
King e2, King e7,
f4,
draw for directly.
Well, it's not an uninteresting game, but it's not that interesting either. So what about Pert Hawkins? Just have a roundup. What's going on? Because these games have gone forever, actually. So what have we got on Pert Hawkins? 36, King d3.
Yeah.
Yep.
King d3, rook h6.
Yep.
Rook de1.
Rook where?
Rook d to e1.
Yes.
Bishop f6.
Yes.
Rook f3, now attacking that pawn.
Yes.
And he's thinking, and there's some counterplay there, and I think he might have just now King g6 is some rook e6. I think he's going to try to get to there, and
Has he messed this up slightly? That move looks. It looks slightly odd.
King g6.
Well, then rook e6.
Yeah, and then rook into h2.
Ah. Yeah, but still.
And then now rook b6.
Something like that.
I
Yeah.
don't like it at all.
For who?
I don't like it at all for black now. I can can't free my bishop still, but I can take b7. But this could go a very long game. No more moves.
So rook f3. That's the
And
position.
he's thinking.
Carry on to the time control.
Move number 38. He's got 4 minutes left. In the meantime, Simon Williams
Yep.
After rook
H4 was the last move.
H4,
Yep.
in comes C4,
Yep.
and now rook D3, threatening to put a rook on G3.
Yep. And
This is quite double-edged rook in game now.
well, okay. So I go King C2. Hello.
King C2, rook G3.
Yeah, rook E2.
G4.
Push.
Yeah, well. I can't do that. So King C2.
I don't think this is very good for black, is it?
Now rook D3, King C2. Can he do something like rook G3? You play rook E2, and then G4, C5, and then H3 takes.
Takes with what?
Okay, you got rook G2, you got King D2. That's the problem. It's quite dangerous. Yep. So the king is cut off. That's the main point of this rook D4. And there's one more move to try and control.
No, rook G2. Is that not? What's wrong with that? That's all right, isn't it? I think that's all right for black. Oh God! If you go to a queen ending 2v1, you know you'll have to hire the second set of commentators to cover that one. Well, that's clearly what he's intending. I mean, black's got to do something like that. So what have we got? We got any more moves? No, rook D3 is the position in the game.
Move number 39.
So white could probably make black suffer, but
King C2 looks quite natural.
yeah, but the problem with it is that he takes on G2 with check. So black's found a good way to create some complications here. Unclear. Gormalians is finished. Howell, Arkle, long way to go. Pert Hawkins, long way to go. So I think with that we can conclude this commentary session, and thank you for watching online. Thank you for watching here in Warwick. Tomorrow we start at 3 PM. Oh, did anybody get the answer to the quiz question? Who was the strongest ever player to win the Major Open? Would Stuart like to reveal the answer?
I believe it was Akiba Rubinstein.
Akiba Rubinstein.
But it may have been Alexander
Okay.
making it rather good.
They will probably win the 2015 version of the Major Open, I would say, if either of them came back. Right, guys, thank you very much. That's it.
Modern science said Kudu.
Right, I have to stop this thing somehow. How are we going to do this? Like that.